field by 5 strokes after finishing 15 under par. The news is a service of Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Call for a quote today, allstate.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Women's sports are under attack in America by those with a radical agenda that seeks to erase the differences between men and women in classrooms, on playing fields, and in locker rooms. No one knows this better than All-American swimmer Riley Gaines. See Riley Gaines live in Chicagoland on Friday, March 22nd, presented by Breakthrough Ideas and the Parents Matter Coalition. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/tickets. That's 560theanswer.com/tickets. Sponsored by Blue Star Security.
Everyone knows that crime is on the rise. It's imperative that law enforcement agents have the information they need to keep citizens safe and protect themselves as well. If you are a sworn law enforcement agent certified in the state of Illinois and working for an agency in Illinois, you might be interested in this announcement. Would you like to have an on-the-job decision-making tool at your fingertips? Law enforcement agency data systems information is available to you at an affordable price when you use the Illinois Public Safety Agency Network products, Bullet or Mini Bullet. Your Android or Apple-based handheld mobile device, phone or tablet can receive this data. In addition, your desktop or laptop can also receive this information via the internet. Just call the Illinois Public Safety Agency Network at 773-693-3000 or visit ipsan.org and pilot Bullet or Mini Bullet. That's 773-693-3000 or visit ipsan.org.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
5:11 on AM 560. The Answer. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, but we'll start on the rails. It's not a good situation this morning if you take the pink or red lines. Trains are running with major delays due to a shortage of available staff. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer, a high of 65, clear to partly cloudy, and mild overnight, low 47. Currently clear and 33 at O'Hare, 34 Midway, 30 in Aurora, 28 in Lansing. Your next news update is 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patient active with no downtime, and get them back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's spectrios.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century with IoT Smart Connected Scanning. It's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
This is Albert Mohler for Townhall.com. The annual State of the Union address combines the grandeur of our constitutional democracy and a bit of political grandstanding. It was more political grandstanding than constitutional grandeur last night when President Joe Biden delivered his State of the Union address. He knew he was facing the political challenge of his life. The American people are rightly concerned about his age and mental condition. The president didn't faceplant exactly. He did mumble some big lines. He mangled word order and invented some new words. But here's the point. The big problem with the president's State of the Union address is not how he said it. It's what he said. The president went through a litany of liberal concerns. He made a seemingly endless number of liberal promises, and he offered enthusiastic, unabashed, unrestrained support for abortion and the culture of death. Again, the big problem is not how the president said it. The big problem is what he said. I'm Albert Mohler.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, fresh off his State of the Union address. Joe Biden has a new commercial up. He recognizes he's not a young guy, but...
Look, I'm not a young guy. That's no secret. But here's the deal. I understand how to get things done for the American people. I led the country through the COVID crisis. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world. I passed a law that lowers prescription drug prices, caps insulin at $35 a month for seniors. For 4 years, Donald Trump tried to pass an infrastructure law, and he failed. I got it done. Now we're rebuilding America. I passed the biggest law in history to combat climate change because our future depends on it. Donald Trump took away the freedom of women to choose. I'm determined to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. Donald Trump believes the job of the president is to take care of Donald Trump. I believe the job of the president is to fight for you, the American people, and that's what I'm doing. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Can we do one more take?
Yeah, so...
he's so hip at the end.
So the whole point is that don't pay attention to his age. Don't pay attention to the fact that he's a senile kleptocrat. Look at all that he's done. This is what they are going to sell. This is what he was selling in part on Thursday night. And this is why there is no need for any debates. And that's not me saying it. It's Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, his national campaign co-chairman.
I was in the room for the debate in Cleveland that Chris Wallace tried to moderate, and it was chaotic at best. Donald Trump just busted through every possible rule or regulation of decency or decorum or following any of the directives of the moderator. I wouldn't encourage it, but I don't think the campaign or the president has made a decision yet. I just think that, frankly, the American people need to make up their own minds based on what difference Joe Biden has made in their lives.
Exactly. Focus on all the accomplishments. You know, there's no need to see them side by side, go back and forth. And that's the problem, you see. Joe Biden is a fundamentally decent man who's brought decency back to the White House. And Donald Trump is an ogre. He is boorish and indecent. He's a barbarian. And we just can't have the kind of civil discourse the American people deserve, so we're not going to have any discourse at all.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our text line is up and running, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. Well, did you hear Biden over the weekend? A reporter asked him again, are you going to debate former President Trump? And he said, well, if he behaves. And I thought, what a condescending jerk to say that. Well, you behave. You wake up. Of course they've got to have a debate. I mean, if he doesn't debate him, that's so reminiscent of 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. Remember that the COVID, so the third debate was canceled, and that was, I thought, one of the most important debates. And it's just, we're going to relive that whole thing where Biden's going to be, campaigning, not a lot out and about, but maybe a few appearances a week. I don't know, but he's got to man up and debate.
If they can get away with not debating, which is exactly what they were trial ballooning after the State of the Union. Look, he's got the vim and vigor. Yeah, he's fully in command of his capacities, and then you'll have the over-the-top bootlicking by people like Morning Joe. That's the best Biden. I've known him 50 years. This is the best iteration of Joe Biden, and he's this dizzying intellect, he's exacting, he's rigorous, he's a tiger in bed. You're going to hear all of that, and then you're no need for debates because Trump is indecent and Joe Biden is decent, and you just judge him on his record. And we say that's good enough. I mean, they're not going to quite say it this way, but this is the imperious attitude. We say this is good enough for the American people. This is the basis on which you should decide. And if you want to debate, that's too bad, because we don't believe that you deserve one. We know better. Right? We're going to represent the people in spite of the people. So that's the attitude. And, we'll see how it goes. I would caution again, Same mistake that was made in the run-up to the State of the Union, that was made in the run-up to those debates you mentioned in 2020. Why do conservatives spend all their time lowering expectations for Joe Biden? So that all it takes is for him to scream out a speech on the teleprompter for 45 minutes, and he's back, baby, and everything's fine. So
how many
stop.
B12 shots do you think he got before that?
Yeah, right. And he's coked up, and he's this, and he's that, and that accomplishes what?
Well, on the way out, I mean, he didn't even know where to go.
What does that accomplish? What does lowering the expectations for Biden accomplish? That's the question.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he accomplished something on Thursday because he didn't fall down.
So what does you're sort of talking. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Right. He didn't fall down. So that's the expectations we want to create for Joe Biden?
No.
I mean, do people pay attention to like what they're saying and then the implications of what they're saying and how you're aiding and abetting the propaganda from the other side? I mean, it's just again and again and again because it's fun and because some dingbat conservative memesters have fun with it on social media. Smart. Right. Lower expectations for him so that if he doesn't vomit on himself, he's fully capable of doing the job. Now, the good thing is that the American public, despite all this sort of fifth grade cloakroom memeing, has already passed judgment on Joe Biden. But, if you continue to tell people that he can't tie his own shoes and he can give a speech or two here and there, make a joke or two, have a back and forth with Marjorie Taylor Greene here and there, then you're just doing his bidding. And it's baffling to me why some conservatives don't see this. It's more, let's just have fun. Okay, I want to win. George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, heck, even in the Old West, Butch wanted rules in a knife fight.
Okay. Thanks for the call, George. Philip, Blue Island.
Both of these candidates are just extremely flawed. I don't know what it is, how both of them are able to stay at the level that they are, that they can be the president of the United States, especially one with the age and then the other one with the criminal indictments against him. And other things with Trump. It's just too much to add to. But, of course, Biden's age is a problem. But, I mean, we're still surviving. I think the economy is doing okay. Crime is high. America is a criminal enterprise. So it's just, I mean, lesser of two evils at this point again. I know you hate that phrase, but that's basically where everybody is.
Well, there's a lot of people that are, making that calculation as they have to in a lot of elections because there's human beings running. So there's always going to be glaring flaws with the candidates. Nobody's ever been good. I mean, give me the candidate who's been good enough. Right. Oh, it's just I don't know. I don't like the lesser of two evils because I think it's intellectually lazy. It's just a phrase that people say. Give me the last candidate. Oh, this is good enough, and everybody agrees that this is the best choice we've ever had, and these are wonderful choices, and we can't go wrong no matter who we pick. Of course, that doesn't happen.
Best choice we ever had was Reagan.
Yeah, I understand.
That was just because somebody, Chicago Democrats voted for Reagan, helped put him in office.
Yeah, but people in 10 states that voted for Jimmy Carter, majority didn't think so. People in one state didn't think so for Mondale. So it was close on Reagan. But I mean, even those that
Minnesota
that begrudgingly voted for Reagan. Oh, the choices. It's just because Mondale's so bad, or it's just because Jimmy Carter was such a disaster. Oh, you remember he's the amiable dunce. That was the phrase Clark Clifford coined to on behalf of what we didn't really know at the time, the burgeoning deep state. The best and the brightest, the Beltway soothsayers. Oh, amiable dunce. He's a nice enough fellow, but he's an idiot. Sure, okay. So I don't know. It's just right. This candidate has flaws and that candidate has flaws, and you have to go over them and make assessments. But of course, it's always going to be a cost-benefit analysis, which is what it should be. This is how you have to make decisions with imperfect information in an imperfect world with imperfect people that we level up to represent us for a period of time. Kevin on the Kennedy.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I was calling. It was right after his State of the Union. I believe he was standing next to Mike Quigley, but I'm not sure who he was actually speaking to. Someone had come up to him and said, "Can you believe people are actually talking about your cognitive decline?" To which Joe Biden responded, "I wish I had cognitive decline."
Yeah,
that
right.
was his actual statement.
Yeah, I know, but
That's all I
okay.
got.
Yeah, okay. I saw that, but so what? He's like, I mean, that's sort of like saying I wish I was ignorant because it's blissful.
This was his coming out party to show everybody I'm old, but I'm with it. It's the last State of the Union he's going to have before
He also
the November elections.
Yes.
Well, it's
obviously.
a big audience because he turned down the Super Bowl audience. Said he could. That was the most watched Super Bowl ever, and he said no. So then people were watching this, and they're going to watch him at the DNC. He's got to sell himself, and I wasn't convinced.
I mean, okay. The hot mic moment that Kevin on the Kennedy's talking about. Well, he had another hot mic moment too, where he's talking about having a come to Jesus meeting with Bibi, right? Which is an odd turn of a phrase, talking about the Israeli prime minister. But and perhaps Joe should have a come to Jesus meeting with Jesus. But I mean, so but all this stuff goes to, again, the point is to say exactly what we said in 2020. Which is, they say he's fine. Fine. He's fine. He's the best he's ever been. Mm-hmm. He's a force of nature. He's an immovable object. Fine. Now let's focus on what is happening under his watch. Let's focus on what, despite Philip from Blue Island, what 3/4 of the country thinks the economy is and the track the country's on. If they say he's fine, let them make fools of themselves rather than trying to sort of disprove and sell past the close that he's not fine. That's a waste of time. You're feeding into their hand when you spend time. Oh, did you see this and did you see that? And he had this stumble. I mean, you can have some fun with it because he is a buffoon. He should be the object of never-ending ridicule. But ridicule based on what he does in his official capacity as President of the United States, the crime family, the open border, the what we'll get to at 5:38. The debating over using the word illegal, which speaks to priorities, which speaks to seriousness about border security and public safety. You only have so much bandwidth in people's minds, especially the passive voter. You should really concentrate it on the thing that is most effective and most impactful to them, not debating Joe Scarborough about whether Biden has the mental fitness for the job or talking about cognitive tests and all these other things. They say he's fine. It's their choice to put up whoever they want, the Democrat Socialist Party, as their nominee. So let's get to it. And we will at 5:38.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
5:32 on AM 560. The Answer. The leader of Yemen's branch of al-Qaeda is dead. The militant group made the announcement late Sunday without giving any detail. Khalid el-Batarfi had a $5 million bounty on his head. U.S. Embassy evacuating non-essential staff members from Haiti as gang violence grips that Caribbean nation. Southern Command saying American military forces are helping with the operation in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. Portugal's political future is hanging in the balance this morning after a general election that has left two moderate mainstream parties closely contesting the race and an unprecedented surge in support for a fairly conservative populist party that finished third. Torrential rains triggering flash flooding on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, killing 19. 7 others are missing. Major mid-flight scare for passengers flying from Australia to New Zealand.
People are hurt after a technical problem reportedly caused a Chilean plane to suddenly drop altitude mid-flight. The Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner was heading from Sydney to Auckland, New Zealand at the time. Officials say most of those who were hurt were treated at the Auckland airport. Some, though, were taken to the hospital. Additional details have not yet been released.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, the NTSB investigating Friday's deadly crash of a National Guard helicopter near the Texas border. Military officials in New York identified 2 soldiers killed as National Guard members Casey Frankowski and John Gracia III. The top prize of Hollywood's biggest night goes to Oppenheimer, and one of the big prizes to actor Robert Downey Jr.
Here's my little secret. I needed this job more than it needed me. Chris knew it. Emma made sure that she surrounded me with one of the great casts and crews of all time.
Downey Jr. taking home the award for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Louis Strauss in the blockbuster biopic Oppenheimer. Chicago police are investigating the death of a young girl found on the west side as a homicide. Officers responding to the 1200 block of South Washtenaw in Douglas Park Saturday afternoon. An investigation continues on Sunday night after a teen boy was fatally shot on the city's west side. Chicago police reported at that time the 15-year-old boy suffered a gunshot wound to the chest. Over the weekend, unofficially, 3 were killed in street violence. 16 others were wounded. And a person was struck and killed by a Metra train Sunday morning in Arlington Heights. Metra identifies the man as between 60 and 70, but is not revealing a name. The Blackhawks score 4 in the second period of a 7-4 win over Arizona at the United Center. Number 12 Fighting Illini finish out the regular Big Ten season with a big win over the Iowa Hawkeyes. Heading into the Big Ten tournament this week, heading to Minneapolis behind 25 in the win by Terrence Shannon Jr. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80% of businesses put to market never sell. Total Clarity Wealth Management understands the hesitation to discuss exiting. Will customers leave? Will competitors take advantage? Will key employees leave? That's why they offer confidential planning. Contact Anne-Marie at Total Clarity Wealth Management. Discover what the financial foundation should be to pursue an exit that is satisfying. At some point, you are going to leave your business. Will it be on your terms? Total Clarity can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Anne-Marie is a certified exit planning advisor. Visit TotalClarityBusiness.com. That's TotalClarityBusiness.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Business owners, own a custom-designed building from General Steel. Call 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-957-8335.
5:38, check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the Chicago Gaelic Park House Raffle. Enter to win a brand new home or a $450,000 cash prize, $100 per ticket. Drawing held March 24th, Chicago Gaelic Park House Raffle.com. Dan Ryan Express lanes already jamming up inbound between 33rd and the Stevenson. Again, as we told you earlier, the CTA running with big delays on the pink and red lines due to a shortage of available staff. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, sunny, breezy, warmer, a high of 65. Currently clear and 33. Your next news update at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, just talking a little bit more post-mortem on Biden's State of the Union speech, the fallout over the weekend, including, by the way, the arrest that on Thursday night of Kareem Nakui's father. Boy, I'll tell you what, if I were advising Joe Biden and the Biden White House, I mean, this was, I know you talked about it on Friday, but this is that moment on Thursday night, in case you haven't seen it.
All Americans deserve the freedom to be safe, and America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then.
Abbey Gate, 19 Marines. That was Steve Nakui, Kareem Nakui's father, who was one of those Marines killed in that catastrophic Afghan withdrawal.
And his pain is still so real and raw.
By the way, his Kareem Nakui's mom, who I think that the mom and dad are divorced, but she said that the arrest was BS.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, they're unified on what happened to their son, if not on other matters. But yeah, she said it was BS. And I mean, the idea that I think it's his misdemeanor obstruction of Congress charge or something, although who knows, by the time DOJ gets done with him, he'll probably be an insurrectionist and serve 20 years. No,
he was charged. I don't believe her. What is she saying? The handcuffing of him, that picture is BS?
No, that the fact that he was arrested was BS. So, I mean, I don't know how you let Steve Nakui be prosecuted for that excited exhortation. I'm not saying that that's appropriate, but really, you want to arrest a Gold Star father over that, and you want to see charges pressed against him? Okay, all right. I wouldn't surprise me, but I'm just saying. Wow.
That would take some onions. I mean, I don't know. And Kareem's older brother committed suicide.
Right.
Soon after his brother was killed because he was so distraught over his best friend dying.
Yeah.
And so I support that dad 100% what he did. Good for him. And Biden up there spewing lies. Oh, cities are safer. No, it's not.
Right, and it also, the other thing it did is it reminds everybody about the catastrophic Afghanistan withdrawal, what happened at Abbey Gate, the 19 Marines that were killed, and that's something, as we were talking about before the break, let's train the electorate's attention on the damage Joe Biden has done rather than the style in which he's done it. The withdrawal from Afghanistan is a good example. And let's connect some dots, as Trump has on the trail. You know, don't think that Putin wasn't watching what happened in Afghanistan, what happened in Kabul, in terms of weighing if and when to go into Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So, let's connect the dots about Biden's, general incompetence I don't care the basis of the incompetence. Incompetence, terrible judgment calls, catastrophic leadership, the death tolls that those terrible judgment calls have piled up. Focus there. How raw was that when he yelled out? And now thinking about what we saw and all those people running down the runway and obviously the Marines that were killed and the families, now all these Gold Star moms and dads. And I mean, that's stuff that sticks with you. Joe Biden's malapropisms don't. Know what I'm saying?
312-642, excuse me, 5600. Our turnkey.pro answer line, getting lots of text messages on that text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
By the way, I did watch it, the State of the Union speech, but if you didn't really have to.
Why?
Because it was largely the same speech he's given the previous 2 years. And somebody did a great editing job on social media, posted this on Twitter, literally just topic by topic. I'll give you an example.
Rinse and repeat.
Joe Biden, exporting products, creating jobs. The first clip, 2023, the next clip, 2024.
For too many decades, we imported projects and exported jobs. Now, thanks to what you've all done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs.
I'm building the economy. 2022, 2023, 2024, right in a row.
Build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. To build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down.
COVID, 2022, 2023, 2024, right in a row.
This year, COVID-19 no longer need control our lives. Today, COVID no longer controls our lives. The pandemic no longer controls our lives.
Defining America.
Oh, boy.
2022, 2023, 2024. It's nice when you can just keep turning in the same homework over and over again.
The only nation that can be defined by a single word, possibilities. Actually, I can define it in one word, and I mean this. Possibilities. Possibilities.
I'm a capitalist. Got to shoehorn that in.
I'm a capitalist. Look, I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist.
2022, 2023, 2024. Even the mundane, replacing lead pipes. 2022, 2023, 2024.
Began to replace the poisonous lead pipes so every child, every American has clean water to drink at home and at school. We're also replacing poisonous lead pipes. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Buy American.
We're going to do it by buying American. Buy American products. We're going to buy American. We're going to buy America. Buy America.
2022, 2023, 2024. So, I mean, the other thing this tells you is, if in case it wasn't obvious, this is just, all a show. All the clapping and the standing up over the pat lines and the excitement and the deep analysis by the punditry after the speech. It's the same speech. And frankly, it's probably you could do the same thing with the pundits. It's the same analysis because it's the same speech. It's just everybody reciting their lines.
Right.
It's all, I mean.
The only thing different was he said my predecessor about 35 times during his speech. Couldn't say his name.
I don't know if is it a show like going to the theater, or is it a scam like a hustle, or some combination of the two? I mean,
it wasn't unifying. It didn't make me proud to be an American. I'm like, this is just as ranting as a campaign stop.
Just something, just like also just the hilarity of this, thinking about how long he's been saying the same things. Well, how long is this going to take? You've been saying this literally the same thing, promising the same thing for the last 3 years at your State of the Union speech, and
what
you're
have you
still promising the same thing. So 500,000 EV charging stations. 2022, 2023, 2024, right in a row.
We'll build a national network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. We're going to build 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. The IBW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
Well, when does it start?
Right, exactly. You're right. That's a very good point.
When is it going to be finished? You passed the backdoor Green New Deal. All that money's been allocated.
And what do you have to show for it, big guy?
And then, in terms of the typical sort of class warfare politics they try to play with the tax code, I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. You think, I watched the State of the Union. I'm very informed about these things. No, you're not. You just listen to the same talking points and you regurgitate them. These people on the left pretend, he made that. Did you catch that speech last night? He made a really important point about these Fortune 500 companies that don't pay any taxes.
Yeah, he's going to raise the tax rate from 21 to 28%. Did you hear?
That really grabs me. These Fortune 500 companies that don't pay any taxes. I heard that in Biden's State of the Union. Yeah, I know. You heard that in Biden's State of the Union in 2022, 2023, and 2024.
55 of the Fortune 500 companies earned $40 billion in profit and paid zero in federal taxes. 55 of the largest corporations in America, the Fortune 500, made $40 billion in profits and paid zero in federal taxes. 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero.
So you've been saying the same thing for 3 years. If you're so upset about it, why don't you do something about it?
This is great that you found that. That's amazing.
How about ending cancer?
Oh, boy.
Again, these throw-ins. Check these boxes. It's like Mad Libs.
Let's end cancer as we know it. Let's end cancer as we know it. Like end cancer as we know it.
He's been, he
was in charge, too, because Obama put him in charge of, eradicating cancer.
Yeah, on that line, he's literally been saying for the better part of 15 years.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Pat in Lockport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know what? He's talking about what a good economy we had 4 years ago. I wasn't paying $3.69 for eggs. He got us through COVID. Really? You got us through the damn flu. What did the CDC just put out the other week? Treat your quote-unquote COVID as the flu. Right. And I'm going to tell you something else. As a caregiver, I've held the hand of the dying and prayed that they would go to a better place. But I'm telling you now, when this country dies, there won't be a better place. There will only be a deeper hell. And that's my comment for today.
Thanks, Pat. Jim in Sheboygan.
Yeah, I was listening to what you just talked about, and I was thinking maybe a speechwriter was from Harvard.
Claudine Gay, yeah. But
yeah.
Right, thanks for the call, Jim. Well, I suppose you can't plagiarize yourself. His speechwriter is, Joe Biden is not averse to plagiarism. We know he had to drop out of the 88 campaign after it was revealed that he plagiarized speeches from Neil Kinnock, a British Labour Party leader. Remember that in the great annals of Joe Biden's history? This guy's always been a slouch.
And a liar.
He's always been a slouch. He's always been vacuous. This is what I say. This is whatever. This is an aged version of the same guy you've been watching in public life for the better part of 40 years, that you've been unimpressed with for the better part of 40 years. So you should continue to be unimpressed because he's unimpressive and corrupt. Now the sort of the not that he ever wasn't, but the privilege that comes with DC power to enrich his family, that other piece of the conversation that has really been marginalized over the last several weeks, understandably so because of more pressing issues like the border and public safety, but not because of cognitive tests and conspiracy I would say conspiracy, but fantasy politics about how an unnamed they is going to replace him and with whom they're going to replace. All that stuff. What a waste of energy. Right. I'm talking to conservatives on this topic.
Right, and stop with Michelle Obama that she's someone to come out and save Biden, save the Democratic Party. She's not.
So the other matter, since we've gotten through Biden redux, Biden on repeat, for 3 years. Oh, the applause and the scowling and the booing. I mean, it's the same speech.
I know.
Oh, goodness.
The suffragettes were out, Dan. I thought of you.
Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan. Welcome back, and good to hear you, Amy, again. Is somebody going to fact check him? The deficit is not decreasing. It's still increasing, Joe. Have a great day.
Thanks, Bob. So we've the arrest, and I guess they're going to move forward with charges against Steve Nakui, which is
They haven't dropped him yet.
Incredible to me if that happens. The just the point about the speech being a cut and paste job with a little bit more Trump focus, because it's a campaign speech, as everybody knows, but it always is a campaign speech. So that analysis it's not really particularly important. And this will dissipate into the ether. All this really tells you is what the campaign message is going to be for the next 7 months, just to tell how they're going to market Joe. And then you have the ad that we played that, I'm old, but I get things done. Don't pay attention to what the things are. I just get stuff done, and don't believe your lying eyes at the grocery store, the gas pump. Things are going well. We're taming inflation, job creation, exporting our products. Everything's hunky-dory. Of course, that's what they have to say, but now you know exactly the angle of incidents. They're not going to debate because Trump is indecent and so on and so forth. So you just get the script they're going to use for the next 7 months. So it's helpful to know so you can identify it and actually, for your friends who don't pay as much attention as people our listeners, people listen to this show, predict what they're going to say. Tell your friends who think, oh, this is all on the up and up, what these people are going to say and what angles they're going to take. Because when it comes true, be like, oh my gosh, maybe some scales will fall from some eyes. Maybe some people will realize they're being hustled. I don't know. It's worth a try, though. The other matter, of course, is Biden's exchange with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and where he confused Laken Riley with the head football coach of USC. And I doubt he's even a football fan, but whatever. So that was a moment. By the way, Laken Riley's mom called it pathetic that he didn't know her daughter's name, and of course Trump has met with the Riley family now.
Well, can you imagine if somebody got George Floyd's name wrong and called him Jim Floyd? The whole the world would be, oh my God, did you hear this? But it's okay for him to get it wrong. And I'm the biggest name assassinator, you know that, but it's Laken Riley.
As I said, he's thinking about the Bears going to take Caleb Williams #1 overall. He's thinking about USC football, so he's thinking Lincoln Riley. Anyway,
straps a CPAP on his face at night.
So the big takeaway, of course, on Friday and into the weekend was Biden referring to Laken Riley's killer as an illegal, and he was immediately rebuked by the full complement of leftist leaders who ran to CNN, and CNN ran to them to say, come on, he shouldn't have. Pramila Jayapal, for example, she is, of course, the band manager for the Socialist Spice Girls in the House.
You should have used the word undocumented. I don't believe that the president's heart is with the word illegal.
Mm-hmm. LaFonza Butler, she's a senator from California for the moment, interim.
It's unfortunate that the president used that language. I don't believe that is the language that he believes in his heart about immigrant people who find their way to this country to make a better life for themselves.
Mm-hmm. He shouldn't have said it, and here's what we're going to say, everybody. He shouldn't have said it, but that's not his heart. Mitch Landrieu, former mayor of New Orleans, now Biden campaign advisor.
There has been at least one Democrat that has criticized it. Joaquin Castro has said, this, using that word and illegal, dehumanizing is problematic. What did you make of that?
That's probably true. He probably should have used a different word, and I think he would know that.
Yeah, exactly. Of course he knows that. It was a mistake, Nancy Pelosi.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but it's not a big thing.
No, it's a big thing.
Well, it's a huge thing, yeah.
It's a big thing. It's a big enough thing that when the big guy, Mr. 10%, president sat down with Jonathan Capehart over the weekend on MSNBC. He was fully contrite.
During your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
What does that tell you about where the neo-Marxist party is? That's the obsession by their leadership after the fact.
He could have taken that moment to apologize for saying her name wrong.
Yeah.
And apologizing for his policies that allowed that monster into this country to begin with. Those people that are crossing right now are not building our country.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I found remarkable about that statement, too. The people who've come here illegally built our country, past and present. Illegally, they built the people who have come. Really?
My grandpa helped build this country, and he came through Ellis Island. He came in the right way.
Yeah, not going to be disrespectful. But I'm happy to be disrespectful to American citizens. Coming up at 6:06, new gun law proposed in Illinois. We'll have the details, 6:06.
Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 65. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A blockbuster is a big Oscar winner. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Oppenheimer got 7 Academy Awards on ABC, including Best Picture and Best Actor, Cillian Murphy.
We made a film about the man who created the atomic bomb, and for better or for worse, we're all living in Oppenheimer's world, so I would really like to dedicate this to the peacemakers everywhere.
Oppenheimer's director, Christopher Nolan, also won, and Robert Downey Jr. got Best Supporting Actor. The Oscar for Best Actress went to...
For Poor Things, Emma Stone, who thanked her family.
My daughter, who's going to be 3 in 3 days and has turned our lives technicolor. I love you bigger than the whole sky, my girl.
Poor Things also had a big night with 5 awards. Zone of Interest took home 2.
Fox's Michelle Polino. Barbie got 1 Academy Award, Best Original Song, What Was I Made For? Before the Oscars, there was a pro-Palestinian protest that snarled traffic around Los Angeles, and as the holy Muslim month of Ramadan starts, Israel's readying a new offensive against Hamas in Rafah, which President Biden's critical of.
The president issued a statement marking the start of Ramadan, saying it comes at a moment of intense pain when more than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war in Gaza. He said the U.S. will continue airdrops of aid while working with Israel to expand deliveries by land.
That's Fox's Jill Nato. Caribbean leaders are meeting today, fearing Haiti's government is about to collapse.
The gang violence forcing the U.S. to evacuate non-essential embassy personnel over the weekend, though some diplomats remain in the country. Haiti's embattled Prime Minister Ariel Henry is facing calls to resign. He's been stranded for days in Puerto Rico after traveling to Kenya to push for a UN-backed police force to help fight the gangs.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Fright on a LATAM Airlines flight from Australia to New Zealand.
The Boeing 787 Dreamliner suffering what's described as a strong movement. One passenger called it a quick little drop, but that caused at least 50 injuries, 30 of whom needed hospital treatment.
Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox.
Investigating the death of a young on the west side as a homicide. Cook County Medical Examiner says Cheyenne Washington died from asphyxiation. An investigation is underway after a teen boy was fatally shot on the city's west side. The 15-year-old apparently suffered a gunshot wound to the chest. Over the weekend, unofficially, there were 3 killed in street violence and 16 others wounded. Chicago police are investigating after a man was shot in a warehouse on the northwest side Saturday night. The 55-year-old man was found shot in the chest in an auto detailing shop in the 1800 block of North Costner. Indiana is now among 17 states that have reported cases of measles. It was the first report in the Hoosier State in nearly 5 years. And here in Chicago, a second case of measles involving a child living inside a Pilsen migrant shelter noted for serious health violations has been confirmed. And CPS said Sunday that child attends its system. Progressives in Springfield unveiled a report that calls for Illinois taxpayers to shell out $1.4 billion more to fund Illinois' public universities with failing graduation rates and slumping enrollment. Robin Staines is president of Advance Illinois and says, like the funding formula executed in Illinois for K-12 schools, it will be funding first in spite of record low literacy rates and failing math scores. Then look for results.
And I think the reason for that, it's hard to prove a negative, it's hard to prove that relationship, but there's no doubt in my mind that the fact that we had several years to invest in the districts that needed it most put us in a much stronger position going into the pandemic, and that is why we've weathered it better.
State Representative Paul Jacobs, who serves on the House Appropriations Committee for Higher Education, says the Commission on Equitable Public University Funding never approached them.
If they would include all the parties instead of, well, this is how it's going to be and this is the budget, and then they wonder why we vote against the budget. I mean, it's not balanced, and I think it's detrimental to the whole state.
And in Chicago sports, Blackhawks have 4 in the second period on the scoreboard. Adds up to a 7-4 win over Arizona at the UC. Connor Bedard adds a couple of goals in his rookie season. Number 12, Illinois, finishing the regular Big Ten basketball season with a big win over Iowa at Carver Hawkeye, 73-61. The Illini and Northwestern now head to Minneapolis on Friday for the start of the Big Ten tournament. Scotty Scheffler, your winner at Bay Hill. Cubs hit a pair of home runs and a win over Texas in spring baseball. The news, a service of Salem Surround. You can go to surroundchicago.com today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You are a creator. You've been inspired to design and craft incredible works of art. But nothing derails you like not having the right materials you need to get the project done. K&S Precision Metals prides itself on having the right metal pieces for you to be a maker. With a huge array of metal products for every part of your project, from beginning design to the finished product, K&S Precision Metals provides brass, aluminum, copper, stainless steel tubing, wire, and more. K&S Precision Metals only supplies the highest quality metal items. Each piece is pure metal with no lead or fillers. You can feel good that your project is made with metal manufactured right here in the USA. K&S Precision Metals are used by the medical and movie industries, artists, crafters, engineers, and educators. Family owned and operated in Chicago for over 76 years. Most orders are shipped within a day. Order direct at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. K&S Precision Metals. Our materials, your creations.
You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high-quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old-world craftsmanship combined with cutting-edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year. And every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com. Order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like I do.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I feel wonderful, and I'm 77 years old. I exercise 2 hours a day, and I feel fantastic. I am so happy with it, and I've referred it to my friends, and they look at me like I'm happy. And I said, I'm 77 years old, and I do not feel like I'm 77. I said, try it. It's worth every penny.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:08 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. McHenry structure fire, River Road. It's shut down now between Charles Miller and West Emerald Court. Lots of emergency vehicles on the scene. Dan Ryan, express lanes jammed up inbound Pershing to the Stevenson and the Kennedy stop and go between I-90 and Manheim. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Andy Robb.
Mostly sunny, breezy today, high 65. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, a low 47. Sunshine and clouds to start tomorrow, then turning cloudy by the afternoon with a high for Tuesday, 69. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
34 at O'Hare, 33 at Midway, 31 Aurora, 28 in Joliet. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the Illinois primary election is a week from tomorrow.
Yes. And can I give some unsolicited advice, please? When you go to vote for Trump or whoever you decide to, you have to vote for a delegate underneath Trump's name. And if you don't vote for one of those delegates, we were told over the weekend that your vote will not count. Does that make sense?
No.
Did I explain that correctly? So
no.
My sister went to the Wheeling Township Republican meeting, which she goes to once a month. And at that meeting, they explained to everybody, and they showed a ballot and saying, you're going to vote for Trump, but you have to vote for a delegate underneath his name. Just pick one or whoever you want to vote for. And if you do not do that, then your vote will not count. So, my PSA for the day.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's no contest. So right. the delegates are going to go to Trump. Yeah, the voting for delegates to officially send them to the convention so they can cast their votes for Trump, and they're committed. If you vote for Trump, your vote is going to be counted. I don't. Okay. So on the state level, some other things going on that may inform your vote to the extent that there are any efforts being made by Republicans to win legislative seats. I don't think there are. I'm not familiar with any. There may be a few Republican candidates bouncing around running for legislative offices. This is sort of this is the important part, since the presidential is a fait accompli for the primary. Right? And since in the general election, probably a fait accompli as well, frankly, barring something cataclysmic that would change the political landscape in this state that quickly. Certainly be difficult to anticipate what that would look like. But with respect to the suburbs and even some of the exurbs, I don't know, maybe you want to pay attention to state legislative offices? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, if you don't, then they're just going to continue rolling you. So, as I said many times, speaking of putting me on repeat, like Biden at the State of the Union, we should have just canned these phrases so I don't have to expend the additional energy. As long as you're there, you might as well try and fight for something, right? As long as you're in Illinois,
yeah.
you might as well participate. right? I don't know. That's what I tried to do when I was there. I still do, even though I'm not.
Keep Illinois out your mouth.
The latest piece of legislation you may want to take judicial notice of, sponsored by Representative Maura Hirschauer. She doesn't represent the North Shore. She doesn't represent the city of Chicago. Hirschauer's in West Chicago. She represents western DuPage County up north into Cook County, places like incurs into Streamwood. It's like from West Chicago to Bartlett over to Streamwood. So basically a middle-income district with a sizable Latino population is how I describe her district. Suburban district. And she has sponsored House Bill 2329 that would add some regulatory layers to gun ownership in the state of Illinois, as if there aren't enough, even with Supreme Court decisions. William Kirk is the head of the Washington gun law outfit, and we've used some of his comments on what's going on before, because he's an expert in this legal space, and he's got sort of a 50-state look at what gun banners are doing in places like New York or Illinois or California. So it's good context and perspective. He provides a nice distillation of House Bill 2329, sponsored by suburban legislator Maura Hirschauer. Two things it does. Pay attention if you have any interest in protecting yourself. Why would you, though, in Cook County, in the suburbs, in Illinois? I mean, it's not like we have a crime problem.
No, we don't. Biden said we don't have one. Crime is down in America.
Two things. Firearm transfer permit to purchase a gun.
Okay.
And mandatory training for FOID card renewal. Those are two new things that are proposed in this bill. Firearm transfer permit to purchase a gun. You have to get a firearm transfer permit approved by your local police department in order to purchase a gun. And an 8-hour training
8 hours
for FOID card renewal. And it's even a little bit more complicated than that. So let's hear from William Kirk, who provides the explanation, a sort of a summary, and then we'll go into each of those two prongs of this legislative measure.
It does a few things, but the two big things I want you to understand is it creates a new type of permitting, which is a firearm transfer permit, which means you actually have to go through a background check to then go purchase a firearm. And then it adds mandatory training. Anytime any of you come up for renewal on your FOID card, you're going to be having to go through mandatory training. Now, I get it to the folks of Illinois. You might sit there and go, well, we're used to this. We're constantly getting kicked in the shin, so I guess it's just going to be another step. No, it's not going to be another step. What it's going to be is it's another tool by which they're going to use to disarm all of you, the lawful and responsible gun-owning Illinois residents.
Okay. So there's the summary. Here's first up, the firearm transfer permit.
Okay.
It adds a whole new section to the Firearm Owners Identification Act and now establishes that any time you want to so much as even purchase a firearm, you will need to go and apply to your local police department for a firearms transfer permit. And if, God willing, the local police department grants you that permit, it is only good for 10 days. This creates a triple background check system. Don't believe me? Check this out, Illinois. All of you have to go through a background check to get a FOID card. You have to have the FOID card in order to get the firearms transfer permit, which also requires a background check. And then, of course, you're going to go to a reputable FFL and purchase a firearm, which, of course, will run you through a background check. So, Illinois, if this becomes law, you're going to have to go through a background check, to go through a background check, to go through a background check in order to purchase a firearm.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. The nice thing that this does, the background check, to go through a background check, is it sets up the gun registry, which has long been warned about.
Yep.
And you probably thought, oh, because of these Supreme Court decisions and shall issue right to carry permits, and so that regime now being in force, we don't have to worry about these things anymore. And the gun banning stuff is just the delusions of gun nuts and so forth.
Well, I just want to. Okay, sorry.
Getting through the back door what they can't get through the front door, what the left customarily does.
This will absolutely, positively assist in what is already being created, which is the Illinois Gun Registry. Don't believe me? Well, here's what else the bill states. Each local law enforcement agency shall keep records of those permits and make them available to the Illinois State Police through the law enforcement agency's data system. What else would they be accumulating that data for? And then, since we can't have May issue carry regimes anymore, what this legislation does is it just turns the firearms transfer permit into a May issue and gives law enforcement broad discretion. Again, the bill reads, the local law enforcement agency may deny a permit to purchase a firearm to an applicant if the agency, in its discretion, believes it is in the interest of public safety.
So you go to your local police, say, I need a firearm transfer permit because I want to buy a 9mm. And I don't know, maybe your local police chief is a gun banner. And maybe you're outspoken conservative in your community. No, I don't think so. I'm concerned that this would endanger the public safety. And so I'm going to deny the firearm transfer permit that you need to purchase a firearm.
What about this 8 hours to renew our FOID cards?
We're getting to that.
But I'm just saying, Mike's saying it's 10 hours, but whatever. But, I mean, I'd rather spend 8 hours getting a concealed carry permit than that.
Well, you have to spend 15 hours to get a concealed carry permit.
Right, but I'm just saying if you're going to spend time, I don't want the government telling me, and it's just another money grab. I'm sure they're going to charge us for 8 hours.
So here's William Kirk from Washington Gun Law on the second part of this legislation, the FOID card piece and the required training. But there's a kicker to this. And California provides an example of the real world play that's being made here. You know, the same thing with the background check for the background check for the background check and then police discretion. Well, there's a wrinkle here with respect to it's not just 8 hours of training for renewal. And if that's not onerous enough, as if, you know, that there's also something else, which is that 8 hours of training you need to renew your FOID card, you're not going to get it.
If you are applying for a FOID card, or you're asking just to renew your currently existing FOID card, you will have to complete an 8-hour state-sanctioned, state-licensed live fire training program in order to continue that card. The specific language of the bill reads, if he or she is applying for or renewing a firearm owner's identification card, that he or she has completed at least 8 hours of handgun safety training approved by the director of the Illinois State Police. Okay, now for any of you who still don't think this is a big deal, the training program will have to be approved by the Illinois State Police. It is a high probability that what they will create is a program that is virtually impossible to find, virtually impossible to comply with, virtually impossible to get signed up for. Don't believe me? Ask anybody in the state of California, because this is the subject of several lawsuits about the fact that they have now mandated training. They've removed most of the private instructors from the training curriculum, so now you can only get it through a law enforcement agency, which shockingly has been defunded, so they are overworked and understaffed. They don't have the money or the resources to put together the program. Shockingly, nobody can actually go get the training necessary to get a firearm, and that is exactly, Illinois, how they will disarm you.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions? Any interest in state legislative offices in Illinois? Or you're fine with the balance of power there? Not that the House and Senate Republicans deserve support except as a default, but at least you wouldn't have measures like this, not just advanced. You'd still have them advanced by Democrats, but you wouldn't have them go anywhere because if the balance of power were different, potentially. So, I mean, in terms of like it not mattering, Illinois, yes, it's a failed state, but I guess how much punishment would you like to endure for the time you're there at the hands of your state government that hates you?
Dan and Amy, don't worry. Illinois gangbangers and migrants will be exempt from the new gun regulations.
Yeah, well, they're not. The gangbangers and people who are coming here to commit crimes, pretty straightforward how that plays out. Phil and Darian, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, listen, Dan, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. Isn't it true that you just stated that we have to go to a police station or your local law enforcement building to get approval? Is that right? Did I hear that right?
To get a firearm transfer permit to purchase a weapon, yes.
Okay, so we all know that a certain demographic of people do not like the police. So it seems to me that this is racist. They just don't want black people to have guns.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, okay. And what else do we got? Anything? I'd love to hear from somebody who even knows, who's represented by a Democrat. And that's 90% of suburban Chicago, and even knows what's going on in that race, that legislative race for state rep or state senate. Anybody? Jordan in Antioch.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Yeah, the other thing that I love that guy, Washington State Gun Law. He's really informative and he knows his crap. But I think he has a video out. I'm not sure, but I know Mr. Guns in Gear, if you want to check that out. The other thing they're not telling you, excuse me for the cough, is that ATF is now hamstringing all small businesses for FFL dealers, and they're trying to eliminate those so you can only be funneled through a big box store to buy your firearms, Cabela's, and all that. So that way they can control that too. But they're looking to eliminate small business FFLs through restriction and regulation. So yeah, and then as far as your regulation through your police department, I have a Lake County sheriff who openly on Facebook says that nobody should have a quote unquote assault weapon. So good for me. The other thing I called about is as far as the ballot goes, early voting. I don't know about the primary day, but early voting, when you select a Republican ballot, down the right side of the ballot, they're right. You have to select your delegates for your candidate. There is still, so on the ballot, I tried to send a picture to the text line of the ballot, but it's delegates for Trump, delegates for Haley, and delegates for DeSantis. And I'm assuming if you don't fill out your delegate for Trump, since he's the only candidate, it doesn't count. I guess you can still select delegates for Haley and DeSantis who aren't in the race. I don't understand it. It sounds like voter intimidation to me. But
thanks for the call, Jordan. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's just Joe in Naperville.
Yeah, I have a question. I hope somebody can have the answer. How many present or past criminals actually had a valid FOID card? And did you guys know that you cannot use your FOID card to get a driver's license in Illinois? They will not accept it as a form of ID in Illinois, but you need it to purchase a firearm. Isn't that kind of ironic?
Thanks for the call, Joe. Anonymous on the proposed bill.
Yeah, hi. This is Doug from Lombard. Sorry.
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call. The FOID card, if you have a FOID card, they background check you every 24 hours. I used to be an FFL, and that's the way the background check works. So you're background checked every day. Now you're going to add 2 layers to that. Also, if you go to a police department to get a permit to transfer a firearm for a purchase and they deny you, what happens if you already own guns? Do they start an investigation for that now?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Thanks for the call. I the obvious answer is, well, this law would be prospective, not retrospective, because we have sort of this constitutional prohibition against ex post facto laws. But, in Illinois, the Constitution is just something to work around, like this piece of legislation so indicates. So, yeah, I mean, what's the purpose of this effective registry? Do you think? What's the purpose of the mandate to turn in your assault weapons if you own them under the quote unquote assault weapon ban that was passed? I mean, again, through the back door, what they can't get done through the front door, but their attitude toward law-abiding citizens owning the means of their own protection, it hasn't changed. Of course it hasn't changed. So now they just have a little bit more complicated landscape on which to operate. And they are. I mean, the California comparison with respect to the eliminating private instructors and running it all through a state. What's the turnaround time on FOID cards? I think under law, it's 90 days. What's the actual turnaround time?
Oh, during COVID, people waited months to get theirs.
So, right. So we're going to mandate this training that you can't readily access. We're going to mandate the triple background check. We're going to make it as onerous as possible under the heading of public safety.
If it saves one life.
For law-abiding citizens to exercise their individual Second Amendment right to self-protection. But that's the state. That's the state that's been chosen by the people. And again, I'm still waiting for the call to tell them from anybody, anywhere in the suburbs. I'm really excited about this Republican candidate for state rep, state senate. I guess I'll be waiting for another cycle. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The best way to protect yourself from inflation, hyperinflation, or a recession is to trade the doomed currency into a hard asset before it happens. Why precious metals? Gold and silver have been the store of value for thousands of years. Why not ETFs or just buy it on paper? The whole sales pitch for owning gold and silver is to have it in your own control, not in some bank vault hundreds of miles away or the cloud. Can't you just buy from anyone? Most people like the anonymity of paying cash and walking out the door with the product. You can't do that through the mail. If you are buying or selling gold, silver, or platinum, it's basically cash and carry.
Fox Valley Coins. Our products are as good as, well, you get the idea. Don't buy and sell through the mail. Deal with a real store. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville for an investment with a real silver lining. Check out foxvalleycoins.com.
All right, can't wait to do it. Take Balance of Nature. Why? 0 fruits and veggies over the weekend. Sorry, so you can feel good that you're doing something for yourself by taking care of your temple, by taking Balance of Nature. 31 whole fruits and vegetables. They take the fruits and veggies, turn them into a powder system after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. Real food, real science, real nutrition. So get the nutrition that your body needs. It's very important to have fruits and veggies, as you know. And when you give your body the best possible fuel, you do have more energy and you're stronger. The number to call is 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up, excuse me, on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, we have more exciting news about Illinois we need to cover from a voting, an election integrity perspective. Kids read good in CPS, says Cam Buckner. We got a Cook County State's Attorney's race. We got still a lot more to cover with the primary election 8 days away, and we'll do that at 6:36.
And later, why old people shouldn't hand out Oscar awards. Oh, my God. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
34 degrees at 6:32. The leader of Yemen's branch of Al-Qaeda is dead. The militant group made the announcement Sunday. The leader had a $5 million bounty on his head. The U.S. Embassy is evacuating non-essential staff members from Haiti as gang violence continues to grip that Caribbean nation. The NTSB investigating Friday's deadly crash of a National Guard helicopter near the Texas border. Military officials in New York ID'd the two soldiers as Casey Frankowski and John Gracia III. 4 adults and 1 child are dead after a small plane crashed in Virginia Sunday near the town of Hot Springs, about 3 hours outside of Richmond. 2 Texas men are facing charges for allegedly stealing a whole lot of calculators from several stores in Minnesota. The value of the stolen calculators around $20,000. It's all part of a larger theft ring operating in the Midwest. Actor Cillian Murphy has secured his first ever Oscar award.
Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas, it's been the wildest, most exhilarating, most creatively satisfying journey you've taken me on over the last 20 years. I owe you more than I can say.
The Irish actor nabbed Best Actor for his role in Oppenheimer. Chicago police are investigating the death of a young girl on the west side as a homicide. Officers responded to the 1200 block of South Washtenaw Avenue in Douglas Park Saturday afternoon. Cook County ME's office says Cheyenne Washington died from asphyxiation. Over the weekend, unofficially, 3 were killed in street violence and 16 others were wounded. Indiana, now among 17 states across the country, reporting a case of measles. It's the first time in 5 years there's been a case reported in the Hoosier State. Meantime, here in Chicago, a second case of measles involving a child living inside a Pilsen migrant shelter noted for serious health violations has been confirmed. Vaccination teams were on site at that shelter over the weekend. Chicago sports. Blackhawks score 4 in the second period in a 7-4 win over Arizona. Colin Blackwell, the hat trick. Connor Bedard, 2 more rookie goals. The Bears continuing to add to their roster prior to the start of free agency this week, signing safety Kevin Byard to a 2-year, $15 million deal. College hoops, number 12 Fighting Illini, finishing the Big Ten season strong with a win over Iowa, 73-61. The Illini and Northwestern head to Minneapolis for the Big Ten quarterfinals in the Big Ten tournament on Friday. UIC head basketball coach Luke Yaklich has been fired after the Flames win 12-21. Cubs hit a pair of home runs in a spring training win over the Rangers, while the White Sox lost to San Francisco. The news is a service of ExpressPros.com. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you, ExpressPros.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
2024 is an election year, and that could mean huge gains. Consider the Dow. Over the last 123 years, over 65% of the years were winners. Traders who want to capture the biggest gains need to perfect their timing of entries and exits. Vantage Point's dual-patented artificial intelligence processes billions of data points instantly, giving you the edge to make informed decisions. We can help you predict major market trends in advance. Text the word money to 813-813 to learn the power of the AI pattern learn we can only describe as electionomics. Join our free class today and put electionomics to work for you. Text the word money to 813-813 right now. Text money to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers, by, or on behalf of VantagePoint. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text money to 813-813.
For excellence in metal finishing, discover Reliable Plating. A trusted name in Chicago since 1954, Reliable is a fourth-generation family business and offers a wide range of finishes on nearly any metal substrate. From black chrome to electroless nickel, from cadmium to precious metals, Reliable offers nearly every type of plating as well as chromating and passivating. They can also manage your polishing, buffing, or abrasive blasting requirements prior to plating. Every job, big or small, goes through meticulous planning and processing to ensure the results meet all the specifications and expectations of you or your customer. Allow Reliable Plating to become the plating department of your business. Reliable is ISO 9001 certified and ITAR registered. Reliable's promise, like their name, is clear: to continue a tradition of quality and dependability. Visit ReliablePlating.com and call Colt for quotes or questions. That's ReliablePlating.com.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
6:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. West Chicago, an accident, Fabian Parkway in McChesney. Southwest side, Garfield Ridge neighborhood, Archer and Nashville. Report of a bad accident. Delays developing on the Bishop Ford already this morning, 103rd into the Ryan merge, and delays on the Kennedy on the outbound side near Manhunt. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny, breezy, and warmer today, high 65, a mild low of 47 overnight. At O'Hare 34, 33 at Midway, 31 in Aurora, 28 Joliet, 28 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
All right, big shout out to the Iowa Hawkeyes who won the Big Ten championship in overtime against Nebraska. Yes, go Hawks. All right, if you want to see the Chicago River dyed green while celebrating St. Patrick's Day, Trump Hotel in Chicago is hosting a morning with an open bar, Irish-inspired brunch, Irish dance performers, and a DJ while the river is being dyed green. For your chance to win a ticket to this awesome event, go to 560theanswer.com and use the keyword Trump. Good luck.
That was the Iowa girls team.
Yeah, Iowa girls team. Yeah, the boys are already out. They lost to Illinois yesterday.
Yeah, they're not going to the tournament.
No,
unless they somehow they win the Big Ten tournament, which I don't think is going to happen. All right. So we were talking about we have this election coming up in Illinois, don't you know? A week from tomorrow. It's a primary election, so be selecting Republican candidates, or if you vote Republican, if you pull a Republican ballot, that will be on the ballot in November, including like at the state and local level. Remember those levels of government? And talking about this latest gun grab gambit sponsored by Maura Hirschauer, who incredibly represents middle-income families in the western part of DuPage County up into Cook County, northwest suburban Cook County. There's some other things going on, too. What did you do for Thank an Abortion Provider Day?
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is not something from The Onion. The Abortion Provider Appreciation, Dan. I thought you might have forgotten about it.
Yeah, so...
Gross.
Abortion and guns, we're not allowed to talk about those things. But the pro-abortion, anti-gun left has no problem. Isn't that always... Don't you always find that interesting? Shh. Republicans, don't talk about those things. Okay. Yeah, right. abdicate the playing field and then be perplexed as to why you lose, why you're in the super minority, because the abdication was supposed to provide political salvation, and yet distinct super minorities. Gosh, I wonder if the two are connected in some way. Well, Governor Jelly Belly, he had a message for Thank an Abortion Provider Day.
Oh, I mean, it's so with his Think Big USA group.
I wonder if they've Hallmark has gotten into the act here. Here's Jelly Belly's message.
Today is Abortion Providers Appreciation Day. Thank you to the doctors, nurses, clinic staff, and volunteers who help those in need, treating their patients with dignity and compassion. You're on the front lines of this fight, and your sacrifices and your work make me proud.
As abortion providers, we witness the strength and resilience of our patients every day. It's an honor to stand by their side and provide the care that they deserve.
Abortion care is about respecting a person's autonomy and their right to make their own medical decisions. That's why I'm proud to provide this care.
In Illinois, we've taken profound steps to protect abortion providers and their patients from legal attacks.
Every day, we see the impact of restrictive laws and the importance of fighting for expansive abortion access. It's a fight we cannot afford to lose.
But the fight for reproductive freedom goes beyond Illinois. With Think Big America, we're going state by state and across the nation to protect a woman's right to an abortion, because no one should have to escape to another state or face legal barriers to make decisions about their own bodies.
Join Think Big America.
Join Think Big America.
Join us in this crucial mission. Together, we can protect reproductive freedom across the nation.
I guess the days of safe, legal, and rare are over. That used to be the slogan of like pro-choicers who are not completely celebratory about abortion. That message, which is consistent with Jelly Belly's message on the topic and these other pro-abortion radicals, is celebratory. Is an abortion a happy event? Is that something to celebrate? I'm not talking about demonizing women, but I'm just. Can you say that it's an unfortunate occurrence, even if you're pro-choice, or does it have to be full-throated celebration?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Oh, yeah, well, you've had people with Pritzker at press conferences celebrating their abortions. Like, I had an abortion. I didn't use protection. Yeah, right. We've heard that excuse before. And just celebrating it, and it's so bizarre to me why they would brag about it. It's just grotesque.
So,
and now abortion
Illinois, is there any Republican that's going to respond to that? No. Any Republican going to talk about Maura Hirschauer's gun ban bill? I don't know. Do they even know about it? Anybody going to talk about the billions that are being spent on people in this country and in this state illegally because of our sanctuary designation? No.
Somebody texted in, is illegal immigrant appreciation day next?
So in Illinois, I mean, they rescinded parental notification for a minor to get an abortion, an invasive surgical procedure. Of course, they eschew any sort of regulations for abortion service providers. I mean, these are surgical centers that would be attendant to any other institution that provides invasive surgical procedures. And if you're not on board with that, you're a misogynist. I mean, is there any like on so many topics with respect to the left? Is there any pro-choice voters? Are there any pro-choice voters left who don't want to celebrate abortion, who believe safe, legal, rare? Or is it 100% all the time, taxpayer funded, any age for the woman, any age for the child. Is that where it's at now? I don't know. And if that is where it's at, should that be challenged? Should that be challenged by conservatives? Or we're just not going to talk about it. We're just going to let them talk about it, and we're going to have no response.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
That it doesn't disturb those within your communities of interest that Illinois is a state that touts being an abortion dumping ground, gambling mecca, drug center of the Midwest. And by the way, that Maura Hirschauer, I'm not just talking about weed. That Maura Hirschauer wanted to decriminalize hard drugs like Oregon did, and then they just reversed. That's the state rep in the Western Burbs.
Yeah,
she's banning guns, and she wants to decriminalize hard drugs, and nobody knows. And I assume that she has no competition, or maybe competition in name only, with some Republican running against her in the fall. But there'll be no legitimate campaign, and thus no real chance to win that seat. And then, of course, you'll have just Republicans say, oh, well, because the establishment will say, oh, the combine Republicans, oh, well, because Trump is on the ballot, and the conservatives will say, oh, because the establishment has sold us out, and things will just carry on the way they are.
Well, Hannah Billingsley is running against Eris Garcia for that in the Republican primary for the 49th district.
Yeah, and with that, and tell me more.
No, I'm just saying that at least there's competition, because in some districts there aren't.
Yeah, there's a name on the ballot in the western suburbs in states that used to be controlled for a long time by Republicans. Gosh, again, how did that happen? Because the Republican Party was too conservative? Is that how? Uh-huh. And then the response now, if you're going to participate, is to do what? I want to participate. I want to do something. I pay attention. So we can't get people really involved in school board elections very much. There's some exceptions. People don't know who their state legislators are. Certainly don't know, the competition. Not paying attention to that. The leadership is terrible, so there's no internal accountability from whatever local organizations are left to the leadership of the party. The people with leadership titles, they're not leaders. They're, they're incompetent and they're cowards. But we decry the lack of accountability in all these government institutions and make no effort to impose it on the party to which we affiliate. Not all of us listening, but most. It's just really something. We outsource it to, a handful of downstate Republicans and downstate conservatives in super minority status. And then we're shocked at Pritzker's extremism on, every topic. And all the legislators that are trying to compete with one another to see who can better serve the interests of the new Marxists. Another piece of legislation pending. This is sponsored by Carol Ammons, who's Champaign-Urbana. Amend the election code. Provides an election authority may elect to mail a vote by to mail a vote by mail ballot to all qualified voters, in sending notices and applications for permanent vote by mail status. In other words, make the COVID election the permanent paradigm. Just mail ballots to everybody.
Oh, right.
And
if you get around to it, great. If you don't, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then it makes it so much easier for the harvesters.
Right.
Right. And those who are even more nefarious than the harvesters. Just mail out ballots to everybody in Cook County preemptively, and let's see what happens.
And I love how Election Day is now election season. I mean, we've been early voting for the primary here for months. Well, a month, but still.
Robert in Bloomingdale.
You know, this Governor Spalding, this is just a gift that keeps on giving. You know, my question for the life of me is, how can you be if you want to say a Catholic in name only, and sleep at night knowing that you're for abortion and you're running for public office and you're a Catholic? I mean, it just blows my mind. I mean, these people should be ashamed of themselves for even saying stuff like this. What do you think?
Thanks for the call, Robert. Well, I just have that question. Safe, legal, and rare? Is there anybody who's pro-choice that believes that anymore, or no? It's a happy event. The more, the merrier. The more abortions, the better. It's a good. We want to, continue to grow the abortion industry. Is that the posture of the Democrat Socialist Party? And also surrender Republicans, or what? What is it? I don't know. It seems to be, based on what their leadership is saying and doing. When you repeal parental notification, what does that mean? When you're abortion on demand all 9 months, taxpayer funded, what does that indicate? I just want to understand where people are at, how this is going to go, and who wants to talk about it. Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, as you guys know, I grew up in Oak Park, Illinois, years ago. I now live in Austin, Texas, and I don't think people know how to get involved.
Oh, that's bull. That's such bull jive. I'm so sick of listening.
No,
come on.
Are you going to cut me off? Or
no, go ahead.
I really don't think people know how to get involved at the precinct level up in Illinois. They have no clue. It's not talked about. In Williamson County, which is right outside, it's kind of like the DuPage County of Austin, Texas, people got involved in the precinct level. They kicked out the old Republican establishment just a week ago. And I think if more people knew about how the mechanics of Republican Party works in Illinois, more people would be involved. And I'm talking about your listeners specifically. I wish you would talk about how precinct politics works. What meetings to go to, what to do to get involved.
Okay, Kevin, thanks for the call. I mean, Amy's sister found her way to the Wheeling Township Republican Party meeting.
Yeah, she's been going. My dad's been going, and
but was that complicated?
No, it was very simple.
And I'm not saying that
she's helping somebody trying to get in a good person to be a state rep in her district. So she's been very involved.
I'm not saying that the local party organizations have good leadership, because for the most part they don't, or any. But I mean, you don't know where to go. You don't know how to get involved. I mean, I've made the comment before, like, try to volunteer for the Republican Party. I bet you can't. But that's not the same thing as not knowing what to do. So if you live in, I don't know, my hometown, Milton Township, just use for example. You don't know the Milton Township Republican Party. You can't figure out how to get to a meeting. They got a website and stuff, then meetings. And if they don't have meetings, you can't figure out how to run for precinct committeeman. Get a group together, run for precinct committeeman, people you know in the township, and do exactly what Kevin from Austin, Texas said. If you have feckless leadership, then take over the party and do something with it. The local party organization. You have candidates on ballots. You can't figure out who the Republican candidate is for state legislative office and get involved in that campaign? County board, school district, village board. These things are unknowable. I mean, come on. It's not my fault. Nothing's anybody's fault in Illinois. Everybody's an innocent bystander. Okay, well, that cedes the state to J.B. Pritzker. Mary Kay, Western Springs.
Hey, I met a guy last week who's in his 70s who has a 27-year-old adopted daughter. It was just a beautiful story about how his wife encouraged him. They have older children, and this girl, they knew her. She was pregnant. The baby was up for adoption, and she's getting married, and it was just it was touching and beautiful, and I'm happy to listen to stuff like that. Women of the left do not believe me when I tell them you can get an abortion up to the time of birth. And I just searched all over the internet to try to get information, and I can't find it either. So where do I tell these people to go to find out that it is an absolute fact that this is what they want and this has happened?
Call an abortion clinic in Illinois and ask them. Thanks for the call, Mary Kay. I mean, what
talk to you.
My 14-year-old daughter wants to get an abortion. Can she come in?
They won't even ask how far along she is, probably either. Yeah, of course you can come in.
Volunteer. Have somebody call. I mean, again, this is unknowable. They're in business. They're doing this every day. The law is the law. What do you can't.
And Governor Newsom always well, he won't admit that they have that. He goes, well, no one's using it. I mean, no one's coming in. How do you know? Well, you have an option. So I'm sure somebody's taking advantage of it.
What does that mean? If that means it should be legal or shouldn't be legal?
That's his argument.
If somebody does use it, then it's a problem. If nobody uses it, then it's not a problem.
It's still an option.
I mean, honestly, it's quite exasperating. All right, coming up at 7:07, we'll turn our attention to geopolitics, including Biden's proposed Come to Jesus meeting with Bibi that was summarily rejected, with Stephen Bucci, Heritage Foundation, 7:07.
And those deadly food drops in Gaza. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A Chicago teen's death ruled a homicide by asphyxiation. A second migrant child diagnosed with measles. Department of Health also confirms measles in Indiana. A driver involved in an accident killed by a passing car along the Kennedy Expressway, and the Blackhawks erupt for a win. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Ramadan begins despite no end to the war in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and as Muslims begin observing their holy month, Israel is readying a new offensive against Hamas in Rafah,
causing new tension between the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the administration of President Biden, with Biden saying in an interview over the weekend that Netanyahu is hurting Israel more than helping. During that interview, Biden referenced the death toll from the Palestinian Health Ministry that estimates 30,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the Israeli operation began following the October 7th massacre.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. Today, President Biden will go to New Hampshire, trumpeting his plans to lower prescription drug costs. Over the weekend, he campaigned in Georgia before tomorrow's primaries there.
He's trying to shore up his support among minority voters, touting record low Black and Latino unemployment. The latest Fox News poll shows 28% of Black voters support former President Trump, 7 times as many as supported him 4 years ago.
Fox's Madeline Rivera, the former president, also campaigned in Georgia over the weekend. Wins there and in 3 other states tomorrow would give him enough delegates to clinch the Republican nomination. There was a scare in the air on another Boeing jet. A LATAM Airlines flight from Australia to New Zealand suffered a sudden drop. At least 50 people were injured. 13 needed to be hospitalized, but it was a lot worse in Virginia, where a small plane went down yesterday.
Virginia State Police say 1 child and 4 adults died in the crash of the twin-engine plane. Bath County Airport Authority Chairman Jeff Ford said the jet had reported needing to make an emergency landing right before the crash. That's according to WFXR-TV in Roanoke.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. They handed out the Oscars last night on ABC, and Oppenheimer won 7 of them, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Cillian Murphy. Robert Downey Jr. got Best Supporting Actor.
I needed this job more than it needed me. Chris knew it.
Referencing Christopher Nolan, who won the Academy Award for Best Director for Oppenheimer. Emma Stone won Best Actress for her role in Poor Things. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 are critically hurt after an apartment fire on the city's south side. Crews responded to the 9100 block of South Chicago Avenue around 11:30 last night. A 64-year-old man and woman were both rushed to a nearby hospital. Cause of that fire is unknown. Chicago police are investigating the death of a young girl found on the west side as a homicide. Officers responded to the 1200 block of South Washtenaw Avenue in the Douglas Park neighborhood. There they found the 17-year-old victim. Cook County Medical Examiner says Cheyenne Washington died from asphyxiation. An investigation is underway after a Sunday night a teen boy was fatally shot on the west side. Chicago police report the 15-year-old boy suffered a gunshot wound to the chest and was found inside a residence in the 3000 block of West Jackson. Over the weekend, unofficially, there were 3 killed in street violence and 16 others were wounded. A person was struck and killed by a Metra train Sunday morning in Arlington Heights. According to Metra, that man was between 60 and 70 years old, but is still unidentified. Indiana, among 17 states now that have reported cases of measles. Here in Chicago, a second case of measles involving a child living inside a Pilsen migrant shelter, noted for serious health violations, has been reported. Chicago sports. Blackhawks explode for a 7-4 win over the Coyotes. Colin Blackwell, the hat trick. Connor Bedard, 2 more rookie season goals. Number 12 Fighting Illini finished the Big Ten regular season with a win over Iowa, 73-61. Northwestern dismantled Minnesota over the weekend. The Cats and Illini head to Minneapolis for the Big Ten men's tournament on Friday. Overnight, UIC head basketball coach Luke Yaklich has been fired after a 12-21 season. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. Turnkey knows small business. Their team of veteran consultants know how to reduce costs and grow new revenue streams. Turnkey has solutions for your business. Visit Turnkey.pro. That's Turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Imagine what your future looks like. Is the picture a little blurry? Hey, it's Sean Thompson here for Alpha Wealth Group. When we look ahead, we're visualizing where we want to be, and for retirement, that can be hard without a written financial plan. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help you bring your retirement picture into focus. For decades, Tom has been crafting customized financial strategies. His goal is to help you protect your savings, grow your wealth, and create an income strategy you cannot outlive. If you're nearing or already in retirement, it's time to get your plan on paper. So bring your readers and let's take a look at it closely. Call Tom at 630-934-1855 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. There is no cost, there is no obligation. This is a chance to get a clearer view of your retirement. The number again is 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high-quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old-world craftsmanship combined with cutting-edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year. And every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com. Order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like I do.
This is the time of year to enjoy life, so stop letting pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief, folks. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied satisfied patients who've reclaimed their mobility. Take action now. Live your best life this spring and summer. It's a great use of your tax refund, by the way. So call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
34 degrees at 7:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy slows up inbound between Cumberland and Central. The Ike right now jamming up Cicero to Ogden. It is 39 minutes from 390 into the old post office. 57 in the Bishop Ford jamming into the Ryan Merge. Tri-State disabled semi right lane blocked southbound near North Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Andy Robb.
Mostly sunny, breezy for today, high 65. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, a low 47. Breezy with sun and clouds for tomorrow, then turning cloudy by the afternoon with a high for Tuesday, 69. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
34 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Unfortunately, and this is something that's near and dear to us at AM 560 because of the campaigns that we do with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water to people in countries like Haiti. And a lot of focus is on Haiti because, of course, it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And now it's even in worse condition as the government may fall there. And we just had non-essential personnel evacuated from the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince. So it's a problem on a number of levels. Obviously, the humanitarian level, as this Haiti once again descending into warlordocracy. It's also a potential problem with our situation at the border, because, of course, we've seen surges in migrants coming to our southern border from Haiti before. It's a dangerous trip many of them make across the water to get there. There's been, of course, well-documented cases of boats capsizing and people dying in pursuit of escaping Haiti and coming to America. But when you have a situation at the border that we have, you now just have another whole source of potential problems with an influx of people from yet another country that is disintegrating before our very eyes. So what can and should the U.S. do, the U.S. government, basically to aid what Food for the Poor is doing? It sounds like Food for the Poor may be the last essentially NGO standing down there in terms of providing food and water for the Haitian people that are caught in the crossfire, because you're talking about half of the country's 11 million residents don't have enough to eat. 1.5 million are like near death from starvation. So, multiple levels here in terms of what should be done. And there's supposed to be a meeting that will include representatives from the United States is it Puerto Rico, where they're going to meet, and where the current president is at right now to try to figure out some sort of game plan. But it's not a good situation right in our neck of the woods. For more on this and other geopolitical matters, pleased to be joined again by Steve Bucci from the Heritage Foundation, served in Special Forces, Pentagon, now at the Allison Center at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's a sad subject to talk about today, though.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I mean, obviously the situation in Haiti has been terrible for a long time, and as we were talking about, we're in partner with this nonprofit that does the Lord's work down there. But now we need a geopolitical response because of the potential that the government falls and civil war ignites. Actually, that's what one of the gang leaders has threatened if this current president is not deposed. So, give us sort of a strategic framework for thinking about Haiti and the U.S. response.
Well, as you've already mentioned in your intro, there's several layers to this. Obviously, there's an entire law enforcement thing, which is just completely broken down in Haiti. Even for Haiti, it's like out of control. And then you got to shift to, what do these poor people do? Do they, are they going to start coming in this direction? I can tell you the Coast Guard and the Navy are probably already spinning up tremendously for a maritime mass migration, is the term of art for it. That could be spurred as this thing spirals down into even more chaos. So our country has to decide what in the heck are they going to do. We've already got a migrant crisis going on through our southwest border. We can't fit these people. We don't have facilities for them. Communities are just sort of left to try and figure it out on themselves. And suddenly we're going to have potential for a situation that's worse. This one, I won't say it's legitimate, but it is legitimate. These are people who are, deserve asylum because they're going to be running away from complete chaos, murder, all sorts of horrific things. And we've got to figure out what the heck we're going to do with them. So the National Security Council, the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, because of its border components, and FEMA are all going to be spinning up today, trying to figure out what the heck are we going to do when thousands of people show up that we can't send back, because you'd be like signing their death warrants, much more so than some of the folks who are claiming that from these other countries. And this is why you don't spend all of your precious assets when you don't have to, because you don't know when you're going to require those assets for an emergency such as this. So the Biden border crisis, which his administration created, his administration exacerbated, and they've used up all these assets, and they're going to have to get the military involved just from a humanitarian standpoint to manage these people, and it's not the military's job. And to be honest with you, we're not that good at it. We can do almost anything with the military, but when you're asking them to do stuff that's not in their sweet spots, it's never efficient, it's never cheap, and it's way less effective than you want it to be. So sorry for all the words.
No, but I mean, right? Well, it's a conundrum, because we've had, as you were just sort of alluding to, we've had catastrophes. Think of Black Hawk Down in Somalia, and so where your instinct to do something that is right by people who are in the crossfire and face death either through, in a ghastly way, through starvation or through murderous gangs. You feel like this moral compunction to do something, but we can't just do something. We've got to do the right thing. We've got to do something that makes sense, that's within our capacity to do. And it's just more complicated than sort of like feeling empathy and wanting to do something without sort of thinking it through. And then you have these catastrophes like we had in Mogadishu.
Yeah, it's and to be honest with you, I'm just thinking about what do we do with all the people that come here. But what the heck are we going to do in Haiti?
Right.
I mean, you don't want this burning mess down in Caribbean. Are we going to do something? We've sent people to Haiti, historically several times in the past to try and help out when things have gone completely south like they're going this week. Are we going to do that again?
Well, and also
the UN had troops too, but they pulled out. So.
Well, and also too the their neighbors, the Dominicans, they believe in border security.
They sure do.
We know that in some pretty historically in some pretty brutal ways too that we certainly wouldn't sanction. But I'm just saying, that this is also something where you have to think a little bit strategically and enlist the Dominicans to provide some at least temporary relief that perhaps that we could support. I mean, it's and as you say, that the Navy scrambling to, maritime resources, what we're doing at the border, and the great irony of now you could potentially have people that truly do fit the description of legitimate asylum claims, but because we've just obliterated the distinction between legitimate and illegitimate, now you have an American public that's not too sympathetic to these asylum claims. You're being overrun at the border. Border Patrol can't process. I mean, it's just such a chaotic situation all the way around.
Yeah, it really is. And, we're already at the, to use their term, donor fatigue level because of people asking for asylum and wanting to come here. And now we got a bunch that they're legit. But, do we have the assets? Actually, no. Can we scramble up some ad hoc method? Yeah. But, I got to tell you, this is a really, really difficult situation. And you've got an administration they're not really good at crisis management.
Right. Well, speaking of difficult situations, I mean, we have a U.S. Army vessel on its way to Gaza to build this pier. Biden says troops aren't being sent to the Israeli-Hamas war, but troops are going to be building this pier in a not-so-safe location.
Yeah, I loved it when they said there'll be no boots on the ground.
Right.
Well, last time I checked, if you got to build a pier, somebody's got to go on the ground eventually. You may start out in the water, but something's got to touch land, and the engineers building it have to do that. How do you protect them? You're talking about Hamas.
Right.
They don't care about our people and their safety, and they've got individual actors who are not exactly following. It's not a real strict chain of command there. So we're going to have an engineer vessel right offshore, troops, probably in small boats, working, putting up these the pier components. They are going to be within small arms fire, let alone rockets and missiles. This is a scary thing. And then on top of that, guys, once that pier is built, who's going to monitor the offloading of those materials coming in? Who's going to assure, because this is the Israelis' big problem, how are they going to assure that it's just humanitarian assistance, that it's just food, medical supplies, and there's not underneath the medical supplies a bunch of new rocket rounds and small arms? And that's the problem the Israelis have with trying to get humanitarian assistance in there, is there's a lot of people who will take advantage of those shipments to get deadly things in there to resupply Hamas. And Israel, I don't think Israel wants to send a bunch of people over into the sea there to monitor that. I hope we're not going to do it. So who's got that responsibility?
And at the same time, you have Biden in his hot mic moment talking about a come to Jesus meeting with Bibi and saying that an assault on Rafah would cross some imaginary red line that they've drawn in their minds. The good news is that Bibi has summarily rejected that criticism, saying the Israeli people are with him and he's going to do what is required to eradicate Hamas. So it seems to me that the Israeli program continues unabated according to what is required to achieve the objective, and Biden's just running his mouth for the purposes of domestic political interests.
Yeah, I mean, he's made comments in the past, and Netanyahu said, no, that's not what we're doing. So, I mean, and that's risky for Netanyahu to say that, because Biden could cut off aid. He could do something crazy like that, and I hope people that support Israel in Congress would step forward and raise a stink about that. And it's an election year, so there's that part, and Biden's going to have to worry and figure out which of the two constituencies he is more afraid of losing, the essentially Muslim vote and the radical left vote, or the American Jewish community and the American evangelical community. Which one? I don't think there's too many evangelicals voting for Biden, but there's a lot of American Jews who vote Democrat, and even if they're not, super vocal supporters of Israel, I don't think they want to support Hamas.
This January 6th matter, Molly Hemingway writing in the Federalist about these transcripts that were kept out of sight by that Jan 6 Star Chamber that House Democrats set up under the previous leadership of the House. A former Representative Liz Cheney suppressed, her committee, suppressed evidence that Trump pushed for 10,000 National Guard troops to protect the nation's capital. Deputy Chief of Staff Anthony Ornato's first transcribed interview with the committee was conducted January 28th of 2022. It's more than 2 years ago. He overheard White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows push D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to request as many National Guard troops as she needed to protect the city. He testified that Trump had suggested 10,000 would be needed to keep the peace at the public rallies and protests scheduled for 1/6/21. Also described White House frustration with Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller's slow deployment of assistance on the afternoon of January 6th of 2021. So these interviews were mischaracterized by the J6 committee, and they were also kept out of the public domain until recently. In fact, Hemingway reports fewer than half of the 1,000 interviews the committee claims it conducted are posted on its site. It's unclear how many of the hidden transcripts include exonerating information suppressed by the committee. What's your reaction to that?
Well, not surprised, I can tell you. There's enough scuttlebutt going around, in the circles that I'm connected with about things that just like that. So wait a minute, this is not what really happened. There's other people responsible for this, not the president to get these people there. And I'm sorry, Liz Cheney, I mean, I have had a lot of respect for her dad. I worked with him when he was the vice president and I was in the Pentagon. But Liz Cheney has become a true believer. She thinks Trump is the Antichrist, for lack of a better term. I don't think she believes in the Antichrist, but you know what I'm talking about. And she was bound and determined to bring him down regardless. And clearly it was not above, we knew it wasn't above people like Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler to twist information, to hide exonerating information. And it looks like that those couple of Republicans that were hand-picked by Nancy Pelosi for the committee were going right along with it. And that's unfortunate. This was a critical moment in American history, and it should have been handled correctly with justice and even-handedness, and it wasn't. And you get, you have the books cooked ahead of time, you get a bad result. And I think, I wish the present leadership in the House, the Republican leadership, could get more stuff out on this. Those trying to hide it, saying it's classified, you can't let this out. No, it's not classified. There's no national security at risk here. It's the only thing that's at risk is the truth. And, Liz Cheney and her ilk, I'm sorry, they bear a huge responsibility for lying to the American people because the truth didn't fit the narrative they wanted to push.
Yeah, the truth is what they really fear. Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer, top Pentagon official, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always.
It's my pleasure. You guys have a great week.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Guys who've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain or loss of muscle mass. These could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Trust my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. It's concierge medicine exclusively for men. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment plans for each patient. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment. They have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ships directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T level tested. So make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630. Or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, can't wait to take it. That's Balance of Nature. Why? Well, I did not get any fruits and veggies over the weekend, sorry. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition. People who take it swear by it. They're kind of addicted to it, don't you know? Because you get the ability to keep doing the things you love even as you age. So you don't need to get those B12 shots or have an afternoon cup of coffee. Get Balance of Nature. 800-246-8751. That is the number to call, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago. First-timers get free shipping and 35% off their first orders of fruits and veggies. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All righty, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The city of Denver is appealing to local landlords to make their units available for migrants. Got to house the newcomers. I wonder if Beal and Brandon will follow suit, given that the migrants are on a March 16th deadline for shelter space. We'll start there with Rodney Scott, former chief of the United States Border Patrol, 737.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott. Hi, Mike.
Sunshine this morning at 7:32. Rescuers recovering more bodies as waters begin to recede after flash flooding and landslides on Indonesia's Sumatra Island. 26 so far are dead, 11 missing. Police say a small private jet crashed in rural Virginia, killing all 5 on board. The FAA this morning identifies that plane as an IAI Astra 112. Virginia State Police say it crashed around 3 p.m. Sunday. President Biden will be on the campaign trail in New Hampshire today, his first trip to the state in his quest for re-election. Meantime, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham accused the president of screwing up the world every possible way you can.
So, yeah, I think he's got it backwards. We should be all in helping Israel. We should try to help the humanitarian crisis, but don't say or do anything that would empower our enemy.
Graham on NBC News Meet the Press slamming Biden's foreign policy. The U.S. Embassy evacuating non-essential personnel staffers from Haiti as gang violence grips that Caribbean nation. Emma Stone has won Best Actress at the 96th Annual Academy Awards.
It's not about me. It's about a team that came together to make something greater than the sum of its parts. And that is the best part about making movies.
Stone brought home the award for her work in Poor Things, Stone's second Best Actress Oscar. Her first win was in 2017 for La La Land. 2 are critically hurt after an apartment fire on the city's south side. Crews responded last night around 11:30 to the 9100 block of South Chicago Avenue. A 64-year-old man and a woman were both rushed to a nearby hospital. An investigation is underway after a Sunday night shooting saw a teen rush to a nearby hospital and later died, fatally shot on the west side. The 15-year-old received a gunshot wound to the chest along West Jackson Boulevard. Over the weekend, unofficially, 3 were killed in street violence. 16 others were wounded. Blackhawks score 4 goals in the second period of a 7-4 win over Arizona. Colin Blackwell with the hat trick. Number 12 Fighting Illini finish the regular season with a win over Iowa, 73-61. Northwestern, a weekend win over Minnesota. The Illini and Cats play in the Big Ten quarterfinals Friday in Minneapolis. Cubs hit a pair of home runs and a 5-1 spring ball win over Texas, while the White Sox gave up a late run in a loss to the Giants. Jake Woodford starts for the Southsiders against Colorado today. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins. Bring your gold or silver in-store today. Each item is priced right in front of you. The coins never leave your sight. Receive a cash or check right on the spot at foxvalleycoins.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I was taking 16 different products a day, okay? My multiple, B-complex, I mean, you name it, I was taking it. My average cost per week was $150. That's $7,500 a year I'm spending on vitamins. And you have to have something whole like this product is. And I'm telling you, vitamins, they're crazy expensive. But this product, now I stand by this product. I stand by this 100%. You probably got the best supplement on the market.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
There is a place in northern Illinois where people have received large sums of money for a handful of old change.
That's right. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville pays big cash for old coins. Many places buy gold and silver. Fox Valley Coins does that too, but they pay more for the rare ones. A true story. Recently, a lady came in with a pouch full of old silver dollars. A few better ones, but most were run-of-the-mill, and they added up to a few $1,000s. But for one silver dollar, Fox Valley Coins offered $4,300. She had no idea and was shocked.
An honest coin dealer. He actually pointed out the rare ones? Fox Valley Coins buys and sells with free verbal appraisals. Just north of I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. FoxValleyCoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, I'm Susan Hathaway Altman, a conservative leader running for Congress in the 11th District. I have the heart to fight for you in an America where citizens are first and individual rights and freedoms are upheld. My common sense, practical approach comes from 30 years as a prominent corporate business leader. And as a catalyst for Congress to work together, I'll tackle inflation, border crisis, safety issues, academic excellence, and more. Go to SusanForCongress.com. Early voting open now. I'm Susan Hathaway Altman, and I approve this message. Paid for by the Susan for Congress Committee.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. Oil and natural gas keep going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help the U.S. with your patriotic investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-accredited investor and have at least $25,000 liquid now, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects and a huge tax savings for this year. If you invest in oil and natural gas, you're allowed to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel, and natural gas is the fuel of the future and trading at record prices. Call 800-287-6691. Encore Energy is a major investor and experienced operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 800-287-6691. That's 800-287-6691.
Is your IRS tax debt making you feel anxious? The professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to negotiate your fresh start. Call them now, 800-230-5174.
7:39. Let's get a check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is a service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of Ad Properties, Christie's International Real Estate. Experts in the northwest suburbs and Chicago, $800 million in sales. You'll get the most value for your home. 708-828-0000. 708-828-0000. Bolingbrook. Traffic signals malfunctioning, Route 53, north and southbound, right near I-55. That's a busy intersection this morning. Schaumburg, Gulf Road, and Roselle, disabled vehicle being tended to by emergency services. Lombard, an accident, Maine and Madison. Delays on the tri-state this morning, northbound between Plainfield and 31st. Roadwork problems, DuSable Lakeshore Drive, northbound between Roosevelt and Monroe. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer today. High of 65. Currently, sunshine and 34 at O'Hare, 33 Midway, 28 in Joliet, 29 in Wheeling. And your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The ads are starting to become more ubiquitous. We played you a new Biden ad following his State of the Union address earlier in the program, which basically just reiterates what he was attempting to convey in his address and the market position they've decided to attempt, which is, I'm an old guy. Sometimes I misstate a few things. I commit malapropism, but look at my record. I've accomplished a lot. Well, Building America's Future has an ad up, too. This is an ad that apparently CNN refused to run.
Oh, it's good.
Gosh, I wonder why.
Laken Riley should have been able to go on a run in broad daylight without being murdered by an illegal immigrant. But Joe Biden promised not to deport illegal immigrants.
Should that person be deported? That person should not be the focus of deportation.
Biden vowed not to detain illegal immigrants who crossed the border.
No one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
So when Jose Ibarra crossed into America illegally, he was not deported. He was not put in jail. Biden also supported sanctuary cities.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
So when Jose Ibarra was arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he was freed a second time. Ibarra went to Georgia, where he beat Laken Riley to death. How many more killers has Biden set free? Building America's Future is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Bill Melugin, reporting from the border, Fox News' guy, you know. CBP source provided an internal CBP intelligence bulletin revealing tattoos identifiers for Tron de Aragua, the Venezuelan prison gang that's been entering the U.S. illegally through the southern border. Both the CBP source and an ICE source expressed frustration these Venezuelan gang members are extremely difficult to deport because, of course, Venezuela won't take their citizens back right now. How convenient for them. They can be removed to Mexico, but I'm told they typically then re-enter the U.S. illegally as a getaway. According to an ICE source, he's quoting, "We have a ton of Venezuelans that we can't get rid of." According to ICE and CBP data, in fiscal year 2023, there were 335,000 encounters with Venezuelans at the border, but only 834 Venezuelans were deported. 335,000 encounters, 834 deportations, and now they can't deport people that they don't want to let into this country because they're part of a prison gang, because Venezuela won't take them back. Well,
and Ibarra's brother is an MS-13 gang member. So you don't think he had anything to do with it either? I don't know. The fact that they won't take him back, too bad. So sad, too bad. Take him back to a neighboring country and just let him loose.
Well, don't allow them into this country.
Well, yeah, that would, but we can't. That's not going to happen right now because Biden doesn't want that to happen right now.
Wherever you want to go, you go ahead and go wherever you can go, but you're not coming here. I mean, it's our problem that a prison gang member from Venezuela is banking on being able to enter this country illegally under some phony asylum claim and move about until his case is adjudicated. How insane is that?
Everyone needs to see that ad. I watched it a few times. It's the best campaign ad I think I've ever seen.
And yet, what does the focus post State of the Union on Biden's use of the term illegal, which, you know, again, it's difficult to keep up with the ever-changing lexicon, and it was okay to say illegal just back in the first two terms of the Joe Obama administration, but in this third term, it's not. And so that was the focus, not just in the postmortem on his State of the Union on Friday, but all weekend, about whether or not he should have characterized the Laken Riley's alleged killer as illegal. By the way, our very own Chuy Garcia, he's a congresshuman. Yeah. As a proud immigrant, I'm extremely disappointed to hear President use the word illegal. Is immigrant and illegal, are those synonyms?
He voted against the Laken Riley Act, too. Shockingly.
Biden had to bend the knee. Company man. Always been a company man. And he said a word that the company doesn't tolerate anymore. So he bent the knee over the weekend in a sit-down with Jonathan Capehart, that is, from New York Times and MSNBC.
During your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
These illegals didn't build the country. They're taking down our country. They're killing American citizens. Big difference.
Yeah, it's but I tell you, if there was any question whether or not there was going to be give on this issue, maybe he'll issue an executive order or two because you've got us. Even he said you're there, more orderly entrance into this country. So, but any thought that he was going to give it all, I think that should be dispelled. Right, because he had the opportunity to State of the Union. That didn't happen. He gets held up over his inadvertent use of the word illegal, for which he apologizes within 24 hours. And there is zero tolerance. I mean, and just the fact that they're obsessed with the use of that word because they understand that words matter. And they're precise with their language for the purposes of propagandizing issues. That should tell you there is no space for anyone from the new Marxist Party to be for anything other than open borders. There's no space. So you can, this compromise piece of legislation that brought bipartisan with Langford and Schumer. That's if Republicans want to surrender, they'll accept your surrender and pretend that there's some border security measures in there. But it's what Biden just said, slow the flow.
That was just another
more
example,
orderly flow.
Yeah, about how he doesn't care about Lake and Riley. He could have used that opportunity to apologize for pronouncing her name wrong and then to apologize to her parents for her death or show some humility. All he cares about is, he didn't want to, upset his Democratic base.
Well, as Senator Chris Murphy said, the people that we care about the most, the people in this country illegally. That's Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut, part of the new Marxist leadership of the new Marxist Party. This is their position. So, I think some people maybe have a hard time internalizing this. This is the position. What he should just do this, and why doesn't he do that? Because he's telling you that is not their viewpoint. That is not their policy agenda. They're not going to do it. They may try to, sort of flummox you with language about bipartisan border security bill, and we didn't even have a path to citizenship in this, and so on and so forth. But that is just a misdirection play. All these opportunities at the height of this crisis, with it potentially getting worse because of Haiti's disintegration, as we were just talking about with Stephen Bucci, and there's no move. There is no move.
Well, it's just disgraceful that Biden's apologizing to illegals. Dear God.
Right. The dignity of people who break into this country, the dignity of people who abide the laws of this country, the people, the dignity of the people who attempt to emigrate to this country legally,
He apologized to a criminal. If you think
Grant and Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, you guys. Happy Monday. Listen, this dovetails with your Stephen Bucci thing. My give a crap tank about anybody else in any other country is really, really, really low. I'm sorry for what's happening in Haiti, but they can fix their own house. We can't fix our own house. It's absolutely incredible. And I think I told you guys I picked up a second job working in a liquor store because of the lovely Bidenomics. And I tell you what, 9, 10 o'clock at night, 3, 4, 5 of these Venezuelans come in. They're covered in tattoos. They don't speak a lick of English. They got nicer clothes than I do. They bust out a crisp $100 bill. I'm sick of it. It's not fair. Meanwhile, I got boots with holes in them, and I'm struggling to put food on the table. And then, have a good day, guys. Happy time change.
Thanks for the call, Grant. Yeah, well, speaking of houses, These big cities are going to need people to start opening theirs, like Denver.
We're going to have some newcomers who are going to need housing.
This email was sent to rental property owners in Denver asking if they'd be interested in renting to migrants looking for housing.
Look at kind of a rent cap, $2,000. If we could stay underneath there.
The effort to get migrants into their own home is being spearheaded by entities beyond the city of Denver.
The nonprofits already have connected folks with all kinds of housing all over Denver.
Officials are saying the results speak for themselves, with thousands making their way out of shelters.
We're below 1,800 right now, which is the first time that number's been this low since September.
That number was as high as 4,500 people in shelters, according to the city, as recently as January. Posts by migrant on social media before were about finding a home. Well, now
a lot of those folks are, those posts have now been replaced by, hey, I now need to furnish my apartment. What do I do? And so it's a good problem to have when that's what you're running into.
No, it's a great problem.
Oh, I love these kinds of problems.
I'll tell you, when the $2,000 that you're paying a landlord to rent his space to me, and then I just got this other problem furnishing it. So I'm going to need a little bit more assistance with the furnishing, too. But that's a great problem to have for the city of Denver and all these nonprofits, NGOs that they're enlisting, I'm sure, to help underwrite this.
Don't forget about the bedding, and then you need utensils and pots and pans. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And I love how they're calling them newcomers instead of illegals. Newcomers. Like, yay, meet your new neighbors, and now can you house your new neighbors?
And pretty soon it's going to be no problem with furnishings, but I need a little help with the cable,
right?
The Wi-Fi.
Uh-huh. The cell phone's kind of old. I'd like a new upgrade on my cell phone, please, because we bought everybody's cell phones,
I was thinking of maybe I'd enroll in the Cheese of the Month Club. Can the city help with that? Corey in Woodlawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. I listened to that State of the Union speech, and every other word out of his mouth is we owe, we owe, we owe. America is $35 trillion in debt at the federal level. We don't owe anybody anything. It's time for us to start taking care of our own. And if we don't get these politicians out of our pocket, we're never going to have anything. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Corey. Yeah, we owe people who broke into this country. What do we owe them? I mean, we owe them
nothing.
I mean, we owe you to treat them decently, yes, and to turn them around. Say, did you not see the line? Did you not see the line? This is how it works. This is what you have to do. There are ports of entry, and there's a process, and so on and so forth. But again, that is not the position of this administration, and it's not going to change. And what you're going to see in the big city level, like Denver, is the attempt to sort of assimilate them, something else, and continue to underwrite them and hope that basically these big city populations are just as inured to this malfeasance and spending beyond means that is customary with everything else. Something else, too, that when he had that exchange with MTG, then when Biden did at State of the Union,
right?
Something else that hasn't been picked up on that I just wanted to focus on. It hasn't been talked about enough, in my view. I just wanted to focus on his reaction when he was off script and he had to go back and forth with MTG.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
So everybody focuses on him confusing Laken Riley for the head football coach at USC. But what about the other thing he said?
Well, I probably have a different point of contention. Mine is that he talked about, I know what it's like to lose a child, because Bo was not murdered. Bo is a 43-year-old who got to live. Laken Riley is never going to have other certain opportunities like husband and children. She was violent. Her life was violently taken away.
So how many thousands are killed by legals?
Right. What was that?
This is one of the knee-jerk, default, misdirectional responses. Right, we've got a public safety problem, particularly in big cities and urban centers, that involves both American citizens and people in this country illegally. So why would you want to exacerbate it? Why would you want to exacerbate the domestic problem we have? Right? The response should be, and the emphasis should be, preventable crime, whether it is at the hands of citizens or non-citizens. But this is the knee-jerk. Oh well, they do. We have Americans who commit crimes too. I know, and you're soft. You and your party gives them a pass too. You give everybody a pass when it comes to preying on American citizens. The law-abiding are just there to be fleeced and literally, in many cases, attacked. That needs some emphasis. That needs some focus on how illogical and insulting that response was. How many people do legals kill? By the way, they're called American. You're speaking of words. They're called American citizens, not legals. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you want the best meats and seafood that you can't ever find in the butcher aisle of a grocery store, you need to check out my guy Chris with Second City Prime. Second City Prime has scoured the world for the best meats and seafood on the planet. Learn how to discover them all for yourself at secondcityprime.com. I met Chris nearly 20 years ago in a meat truck outside the Board of Trade. Him and his wife, Susie, built a business that you can take advantage of. They built that business by delivering the best product to the people at extremely reasonable prices. Treat yourself to a unique corporate gift. Specialty items like Japanese Wagyu, the Iberico, Spanish pork, the South African cold water lobster tails, and the Colorado domestic lamb. Learn more at secondcityprime.com. A special offer only for AM 560 listeners. Spend $250 and get 10% off your purchase by using promo code LIBERTY at checkout. That's 10% off $250 using promo code LIBERTY at checkout. See it all today at secondcityprime.com. That's secondcityprime.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We talked about his mini documentary, It Wasn't Fauci, how the deep state really played Trump on COVID. Now we'll talk to him about it. Rob Mon, CEO of Good Kid Productions, It Wasn't Fauci, 808.
Plenty of sunshine today, windy and warm, a high of 65 degrees. It's 8 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Israel's leader is confident, but President Biden is critical. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Victory is at hand. Victory is close.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just told Fox they have to defeat Hamas. But as Israel readies a new offensive in Rafah inside Gaza, where 1 million-plus Palestinians are sheltering as the Muslim month of Ramadan begins, a holy month, Netanyahu reacts to the president saying that would cross a red line.
To the extent that the world thinks that America and Israel are united, that helps the war effort, and it helps our effort to achieve victory and obviously the release of the hostages. To the extent that Hamas believes that there's daylight between us, that doesn't help.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is headed to Jamaica for a meeting of Caribbean leaders worried about gang violence and it could collapse Haiti's government.
It is so dangerous that U.S. Marines had to work overnight Saturday into Sunday to evacuate some embassy staff from Haiti under the cover of darkness. The national police there are struggling to retake streets from violent gangs.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. 5 people are dead, including a small child, after a small plane crashed in Virginia. Boeing could be under more scrutiny scrutiny over an issue, this time on a Dreamliner 787 in a LATAM Airlines flight from Australia to New Zealand. At least 50 people were injured when a technical problem caused the plane to drop.
You can likely imagine some of the injuries sustained from people to hit their head on the seat in front of them when the plane suddenly lost altitude, to having bags potentially fall on them, or even people hitting the ceiling of the plane as it quickly plummeted.
Fox's Alex Hogan. The plane landed safely. 13 of the injured were taken to hospitals. Oppenheimer won big at the Oscars on ABC. 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Christopher Nolan.
Movies are just a little bit over 100 years old. I mean, imagine being there 100 years into painting or theater. We don't know where this incredible journey is going from here.
Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr. also won Oscars for acting in Oppenheimer. Emma Stone, Best Actress for Poor Things. America's listening to Fox News.
34 degrees and sunshine at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 are critically hurt after an apartment fire on the city's south side. It happened in the 9100 block of South Chicago Avenue around 11:30 last night. Chicago police are investigating the death of a young girl found on the west side as a homicide. The 17-year-old victim, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, was Cheyenne Washington, who the ME says died from asphyxiation. An investigation is underway after a teen boy was fatally shot on the city's west side. Chicago police report the 15-year-old boy suffered a gunshot wound to the chest just after 6 p.m. last night. Police are still investigating a deadly crash along the Kennedy Expressway. It happened Sunday morning near Keeler. There are actually 2 accidents. One of the drivers involved in the first accident got out of their vehicle, then was struck by a passing car. That victim died at the scene. Indiana now among 17 states across the country that have reported cases of measles, the first report in 5 years in the Hoosier State. Here in Chicago, a second case of measles involving a child living inside a Pilsen migrant shelter noted for serious health violations has been confirmed. Blackhawks 7-4 winners over the Coyotes. Bulls fell apart in the final quarter of their weekend loss to the Clippers. They host Dallas tonight. Scotty Scheffler may be your Masters favorite after a win at Bay Hill in the Arnold Palmer Invite. Spring baseball, Cubs over the Rangers. White Sox lost to the Giants. The news is a service of Second City Meats and Seafood. Now you can enjoy the world-class meats and seafood that you won't find at the butcher. Japanese Wagyu, Iberico, Spanish pork, South African cold water lobster tails, and Colorado domestic lamb. Discover more at secondcityprime.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Comcast shares are up 2%. Universal Pictures, a unit of Comcast, financed and distributed Oppenheimer, which swept the Oscars. Earlier this year, Barron's named Comcast as one of a handful of slumping stocks that could become winners. NVIDIA shares are up 1.5% after a sell-off on Friday. Boeing shares down more than 1% after the news that the Wall Street Journal's reporting the Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into the door panel that blew out on a 737 MAX jet in January. Bitcoin's price rose to a record this morning, topping $71,000. Regulators in the UK will allow professional investors to launch crypto-related investments there. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Posolda, invested in you.
This is the time of year to enjoy life, so stop letting pain in your joints
keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief, folks. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who've reclaimed their mobility. Take action now. Live your best life this spring and summer. It's a great use of your tax refund, by the way. So call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high-quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old-world craftsmanship combined with cutting-edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year, and every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com, order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like I do.
This is Dennis Prager. Now you can listen to my show when it's convenient for you and without censorship from big tech. Become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Unlimited. Listen to every radio show over the last 10 years, all commercial free. You can even listen to all my Torah teachings for free. Join today and save 25% off the first year and get a free Pragertopia coffee mug. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
8:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update on the roads is a service of Fox Valley Coins, a great time to bring in your scrap gold jewelry and sterling flatware. Cash or check offered on the spot, foxvalleycoins.com. Eden's outbound stop and go Foster to Niles Center. Kennedy right now standing at about 35 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. 1 hour, though, on the inbound Ike from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson right now stands in at 45 as you're coming inbound. And the Dan Ryan at 30 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. You've got an accident with 2 left lanes blocked on the outbound Dan Ryan between 87th and 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Andy Robb.
Mostly sunny, breezy today, high 65. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, a low 47. Sunshine and clouds to start tomorrow, then turning cloudy by the afternoon with a high for Tuesday, 69. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
At O'Hare, 34, 35, and sunshine at Midway, 30 in Morris, and sunshine in 30 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As I mentioned, we spoke quite a bit about this documentary last week after it got posted. It wasn't Fauci, How the Deep State Really Played Trump. Documentary about COVID. It wasn't Fauci. Spoiler alert, it was Birx. But the dive on this needs to be substantially deeper, and this is an important part of the conversation if we're going to have any sort of reckoning and official record that reflects the truth of what happened and at whose hands it happened. And the interesting thing I found out about the documentary, too, was just how close it was in the summer to early fall of 2020, how close it was to going a different direction than it went, where the lockdowners had their say and had their way, and the thing spiraled out of control with Trump losing, and then, of course, the lockdowners being fully in charge with no pushback. But it could have been different. And we focus so much on Fauci for obvious reasons because he was the face guy, but Birx was the policy point person. She was the one communicating with governors. She was the one writing the recommendations, quote unquote, because they were treated as edicts that were being distributed, even when she was openly disagreeing with the President of the United States. Not to mention Scott Atlas. Scott Atlas, after he was brought on, he's the radiologist from Stanford that came in late when finally Trump expanded the circle of the institutional advisors to include somebody that was saying things that were true and skeptical of the official positions that we now know, were seat of the pants stuff that was not based on any science and data. Oh, the 6-foot separation rule, that just sort of appeared, says Tony Fauci in testimony behind closed doors these days. But how different it could have been if Atlas had, and others, had been included earlier, had staff been a little bit more dutiful in paying attention to what Birx was doing and thinking through the implications of what the lockdowners were promoting based on the philosophy they took to attacking this virus, and that was Birx. All roads lead back to Birx. Here was Scott Atlas, who was interviewed for the documentary, sort of summarizing the impact of Deborah Birx's leadership.
They destroyed everybody to stop cases of COVID, and it destroyed millions of people. That is the legacy of the Birx guidance.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the documentarian himself. Rob Montz is the CEO of Good Kid Productions. Again, the film, It Wasn't Fauci, How the Deep State Really Played Trump, which is available on YouTube. That's also something we probably couldn't have been able to say a couple of years ago.
No,
available on
wouldn't
YouTube.
have been available
right?
anywhere.
Rob Montz, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me. That was a great introduction.
Well, so let's start. We talked about it, but let's do a little bit of a refresher from your perspective. Because this is so critical. I didn't appreciate this until I saw your documentary. But Birx's background as the point person in terms of AIDS prevention in Africa, and she basically cut and pasted her approach from AIDS to COVID. This is why you term it the COVID-AIDS approach.
Yeah. Well, let me just reemphasize that people can, at least for now, view the entirety of what we're talking about on our YouTube channel, just Good Kid Productions. I've had some reports that people have had issues finding it by searching the title. But if you do go to our channel, Good Kid Productions, as of 5 minutes ago, it is still the first thing that you will see. So people can watch it there. Just to give a little bit more context, we now know definitively whether or not lockdowns worked. They did not work. There's tons and tons of research about this. that the degree of restriction by state basis did not have any influence whatsoever in COVID death rates. Okay. This is an extremely inconvenient and awkward fact for the American people to confront, given how much suffering was imposed upon them. But we now know that, right? And we also know that there's these lingering excess deaths years and years after COVID, where all the social and economic dislocation that was wrought by the lockdowns continues to hurt people's lives. Okay, flashback to the summer of 2020. There was always this central mystery that Trump, he's not good at a lot of things, but he does have this guerrilla instinct for sniffing out things like this. In the summer of 2020, he had noticed that the lockdowns appeared to come at a much higher cost than the benefits that they were generating. He did notice it. He saw it. He felt it. He sensed it. That's why he called in Scott Adams. But despite him turning on the lockdowns through the full course of his presidency, all the way through January of 2021, the formal White House COVID policy was still pro-lockdown, right? You're like, that's a really strange thing to have occurred. This is the biggest news story of our lifetime, and yet nobody has solved it. Nobody's thought to look into why exactly was there this disconnect between what the president was saying and what his own White House was recommending. And again, as is made evident by the title of the piece, I think a lot of your listeners would initially kind of instinctually assume that it was Anthony Fauci. That was the reason why there was this disconnect. And we talked to over a dozen former Trump White House officials, and they made it clear to us that it was not, that it was actually this woman named Deborah Birx, who maybe your audience remembers, maybe they don't remember, but she's the reason why she was able to engineer what we've called a soft coup with Trump. Her background is in AIDS. And what she does when she's first called up to the White House is she decides to make this parallel between the two diseases. And that in turn has some very significant policy consequences. What we like to say in the doc, though, is that maybe in the first month or two of the pandemic, it was reasonable for her to try to draw this parallel. 6 months deep into her tenure, it was not only unreasonable, it was actively damaging to the country for her to misconceptualize the nature of the threat of COVID, what it was and what it wasn't. So when people are wondering why is it that the lockdown policies championed by July of 2020 were focused on reducing cases to zero regardless of the broader indirect cost to the rest of society, that's the reason why. Because the person who was engineering COVID policy, Deborah Birx, was treating COVID like AIDS.
Right, and the lack of internal pushback until Scott Atlas got there and tried to orchestrate meetings with other, equally credentialed experts in this field, like Martin Kulldorff at Harvard, epidemiologist, and others. They're just no. I mean, you see, Trump recognized the costs were exceeding the benefits, but nobody was saying, like, does anybody question the sort of underlying philosophical approach that Deborah Birx is driving and that she sort of wouldn't relent on regardless of the evidence and regardless of even, as I mentioned at the outset, contradictory statements coming from the White House? I mean, that's such a failure on Pence's, on Trump, on Pence, on the staff that she was able to manipulate and work around, as you document.
Right. Well, I mean, let's not get it twisted, all right? And I've seen a little bit of this in the comments, that somehow people think that we're going light on Trump in this. I can assure you. No,
you're not.
We are not. Anybody who still supports him to reelect needs to confront and give me a good answer why the way what we document isn't immediately disqualifying for him. Straight up, all right? Straight up. Because we mount some significant evidence indicating that the levels of incompetence and executive chaos in his White House were completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. It's not the only part of the story, but that is the environment, that's the power vacuum that allows Birx to snatch all this power. Now, she also does some devious stuff. But as we detail in the documentary, the devious things she does, I think people, when they hear the word like soft coup, they imagine some like epic power struggle, right? Some like Game of Thrones, like multi-chapter, like epic story of intrigue. But what we detail is that what she had to do in order to snatch all this power from Trump was extraordinarily normal and pedestrian. It's like a couple emails and a couple taps on the edit button in a Google Doc. And she's able to steal all this power that was meant to be his and continue to impose lockdowns on the country well past the point that they were a reasonable policy response to COVID. Like, it's so simple. And that all this power, just because of these lucky, weird turns of history, falls on this one woman. It really was this one woman and a couple of her assistants that was setting formal White House policy for the whole country. And like, how is it exactly that she got that position? What informed her beliefs? What was her disposition? These are all questions that nobody read her book. She wrote a memoir. Nobody read it because it's extremely boring. And she's like a dysfunctional narcissist. But it's worth investigating who this woman was, given that she was definitely one of the top 5 most powerful people in the country for a couple months. Don't you want to know what's
but why did she treat COVID like AIDS? They're completely, one's an airborne illness. I mean, they're not even similar in any ways.
I mean, because she's an intellectual mediocrity. That's the honest answer.
All right.
I mean, and she's still doing it, by the way. She made a media hit. She did a media appearance like a month ago. I don't know who it was, where she was saying she went on a 5-minute monologue about how long COVID is like AIDS. She's still doing it in 2024, guys. This is still happening.
No, I know, but so here's the question. Here's the question I had, as watching your documentary, is so what is it that, especially if Trump's spidey senses were tingling, now you have Scott Atlas in there. Why is nobody listening to Scott Atlas and these other experts that he attempted to convene to meet with Trump? They had a conversation. Trump was inquisitive, and yet it was still sidelined by Trump. He allowed it. By Pence, by Jared Kushner, by staff that wasn't reading what Deborah Birx was writing. Nobody was paying attention to what's going on in the country, and then internally saying, what is Deborah Birx? Is this Deborah Birx strategy really the one that we should consider? What about what Scott Atlas is saying? What about all these other people that started to come out and do media? Like Joseph Ladapo, and I mentioned Kaldorf and Bhattacharya and Gupta and others. Nobody's saying, well, do these other experts have a point? Should we be rethinking something? Well, why didn't that happen?
I think it's primarily it was a cynical political calculation. All right. Mm-hmm. Again, this is another blemish on the Trump presidency version 1.0. that I need his supporters to properly reckon with. I need good answers about this. Because, again, we have firsthand testimony from a bunch of people on camera saying that Atlas got sidelined because the Trump political team was worried that firing Birx would cost them the election. They did. They straight up thought that it would cost them the election.
They had platformed.
They weren't willing to stand on their convictions.
Right. They had platformed Birx and Fauci and, Trump in his way, always with the superlatives for anybody on his team until they're no longer of use. He was pumping them and burnishing their reputation over the summer. And now what are we supposed to do? Dump them in favor of Scott Atlas?
It's this odd feature of the modern version of the cult of the presidency, which frankly Trump is the most concentrated version of, where people are obsessed with him, and obviously there's a borderline religious fanaticism for some substantial part of the people that support him, but they love him for the theatrics. And again, he's an incredible performer. He's an extremely charismatic communicator, but it's almost like that's all people want from him. They don't actually care about him utilizing the powers of this office that he occupies, the awesome powers of the office. And so they just wanted him to say the right words about COVID and to, lambaste Fauci or the governors. They don't actually care that in the moment that he had the power, he failed to use it, right? It's the cult of the presidency purely as performance art. There's no cult of the presidency in terms of the actual usage of the power. That's why it's ludicrous to talk about Trump as a fascist, because when he had power the first time around, he refused to use it. He gave the entire COVID portfolio to Mike Pence, right? It's like he didn't actually want it. He just wants to perform on Twitter. So That's what you want. That's fine, but at least to catastrophically misengineer public policy responses.
But he gave people false hope. I'll never forget when he got up there and said, after Easter, we're gonna be reopened. Everything's gonna be fine. And I believed him. And clearly that didn't happen.
Right. And again, I give him credit for having sniffed out that the orthodoxy of the public health establishment was wrong, focusing on driving cases to zero and being completely insensitive to all the other economic and human carnage that would cause. I give him credit for sniffing that out, but it's not enough just to say it at a press conference or to post it on Twitter. Like, you're the president, bro. Like, you're the person who's in charge of personnel.
Right. Act like it.
You just didn't do anything. You did nothing.
Yeah, and we've said for a while now, especially in the primary when DeSantis first got in, that Trump would do himself a real service and the country a real service if he helped to initiate this reckoning that we're so desirous of by admitting the mistakes that he made and the failures in those critical moments, as you document, where he was AWOL, or as you say, he had outsourced it to Mike Pence. By the way, Mike Pence also should be compelled to provide an accounting as well and respond to the details you have in your film. Rob Mons is the CEO of Good Kid Productions. The film, again, it wasn't Fauci, How the Deep State Really Played Trump. Must check this out. It's very good. It's only about 25 minutes, and it can be viewed at Good Kid Productions, the YouTube channel for Good Kid Productions. It's right there for now, at least. Rob Mons, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle, protected by Progressive, on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
All right. Did you know that the biggest source of energy loss in your home is not your windows, it's your attic? And Permasil is thrilled to introduce their latest innovation in home comfort, their attic insulation service. Attic insulation is designed to maximize energy efficiency, assuring that your home stays comfortable year-round. And guess what? You can trust those Permasil installers. They get right to it. If you're not testing, you're guessing. Their certified installers use digital imaging cameras and a blower door test so they can get right to the source. You'll be more comfortable, you'll have lower utility bills, and your family's health will be better because old insulation can contain that nasty dust and mold. Call Permaseal today for a free estimate, 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or online at permaseal.net.
Do you own a business? Are you aware that your business could be hijacked right from under you without your knowledge? Yes, hijacked. Here's how. Fraudsters pretend to be owners and officers of your company by filing false statements of information with the Secretary of State. They essentially become you. That is frightening. BizTrack from Capital Oversight can help defend you and your business and keep you from losing everything. BizTrack offers the most proactive real-time business identity theft solution. BizTrack actively monitors your business information 24/7. It detects any changes that may impact your operations and immediately notifies you by phone, text, or email. Don't leave your business exposed any longer. Secure your business. Secure your future. Trust BizTrack from Capital Oversight. Go to protectmycorp.com right now. That's protectmycorp.com or call 855-417-1700. Don't delay. Let BizTrack protect your organization from identity theft.
The following is a paid political announcement.
The Chicago Tribune has endorsed Dr. Kent Mercado for the 11th District. Dr. Mercado is on a mission to restore family values and norms. He's not just talking the talk, he is walking the walk. But what really sets him apart are those kitchen table issues. You know, the ones that keep you up at night. Rising costs, your family's health and safety, children's education. You deserve a dose of common sense. Vote for change. Vote for Dr. Kent Mercado, Republican for Congress in the 11th District.
Paid for by Dr. Kent Mercado for Congress.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. My father was a union ironworker, just like his father, but while he inherited his father's skill, he did not inherit his tolerance for taking orders from union bosses. He needed a change, something that was his, something where he could call the shots. So he started a janitorial company. His company cleaned grocery stores and airplane hangars, dentist office and construction sites, hardware stores and restaurants. As his business expanded, so did the complexity of managing it, especially the taxes. Preparing tax returns requires records, and Dad just never got accustomed to keeping good records. That was a mistake. It cost him his business. Initially, I followed my father and grandfather and became a union iron worker, third generation. I'm very proud of that legacy. Now I'm a tax attorney. I help business owners protect what they've built. Fighting back against the IRS is personal to me. If you own a business and have tax troubles, fight back. Go to fightbacknow.com. That's fightbacknow.com, or call 312-664-6649. Become a freedom fighter today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Now is the time to put all our money in Bitcoin. Jim Perry, founder, CIO of Perry International Capital Partners, joins us to talk dollars and cents at 8:38.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunshine and 37 degrees at 8:32. The leader of Yemen's branch of Al-Qaeda is dead. The terror group made the announcement late Sunday without giving details on the death. The leader had a $5 million bounty on his head from the U.S. government. U.S. Embassy is evacuating non-essential staffers from Haiti as gang violence grips that Caribbean nation. American military forces assisting in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. Torrential rains have triggered flash flooding and landslides on Indonesia's Sumatra Island. At least 26 have been killed. 4 adults and 1 child are dead after a small plane crashes in Virginia Sunday. The private jet went down near Hot Springs. Top prize of Hollywood's biggest night goes to Oppenheimer, where actor Robert Downey Jr. snagged his first ever Oscar.
Here's my little secret. I needed this job more than it needed me. Chris knew it. Emma made sure that she surrounded me with one of the great casts and crews of all time.
Downey Jr. taking home the award for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Louis Strauss in the blockbuster Oppenheimer. 2 are critically injured after an apartment fire on the city's south side. Fire broke out around 11:30 last night in the 9100 block of South Chicago Avenue. An investigation is underway after a Sunday night shooting. A teen boy was shot on the city's west side, the 15-year-old suffering a gunshot wound to the chest, and was found inside of a residence in the 3000 block of West Jackson. Over the weekend, unofficially, 3 were killed in street violence, 16 others wounded. Chicago sports, Blackhawks beat Arizona 7-4. Colin Blackwell, a hat trick. Connor Bedard, 2 more rookie goals. Weekend college hoops, number 12 Fighting Illini beat Iowa, and Northwestern dismantled Minnesota. Both will be on their way to Minneapolis for the Big Ten tournament on Friday. Overnight, UIC head basketball coach Luke Yaklich has been fired. Baseball, Cubs take on the Brewers, but that's tomorrow. The Southsiders take on Colorado today. The news, a service of Second City Prime Meats and Seafood. Now you can enjoy world-class meats and seafood that you just won't find at the butcher. Japanese Wagyu Iberico Spanish pork, South African cold water lobster tails, and Colorado domestic lamb. Discover more at secondcityprime.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, tunein.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
In the fast-paced rhythm of life, where demands can be relentless and time is precious, prioritizing your well-being can be hard. Not to worry. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements are convenient and easy to add to any schedule. Paired with eating more fresh produce, regular exercise, and a positive mindset, Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements can help you keep your rhythm. Whether it be excelling in your day-to-day or just living in the moment, start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
8:37. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and this update is a service of Indeed.com. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit. On the Reagan, you're jammed up on the ramp to the northbound Tri-State. Eastbounders on I-88 slow up right about Cermak this morning. Tri-State, northbounders, you're jammed from the Stevenson up to 31st. Solid traffic on DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound right at Bryn Mawr. Delays on the Bishop Ford. You're jammed from the Stony Island feeder into the Ryan. Ryan has an accident. 2 left lanes blocked outbound between the Skyway and 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Today, mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer, and a high of 65. Low of 47 overnight. Currently 37 right now at O'Hare, and your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the Mr. DEI, ESG D-bag. Just because he's a leftist thug, though, doesn't mean he's wrong about cryptocurrency. Interesting exchange between him and Charlie Gasparino on Fox Business on Bitcoin, which this morning is topping $71,000, up 3.5 fold since last year. Here's Larry Fink.
There's a lot of merit to it.
There's a lot of opportunity. It is a great store, and this is where you can debate. Is it a good store?
But you know how it's made. A bunch of computers figure out
But
math
there's
problems.
but the issue is if people believe that it can be an asset that can be cross-border. Right. And let's be clear, if you're in a country where you're fearful of your government, and maybe this is one of the reasons why China has banned it. Mm-hmm. If you're in a government where if you're in a country where you're fearful of your future, fearful of your government, or you're frightened that your government is devaluing its currency by too much deficits.
Like us.
I'm not going to go there.
The little elephant in the room here.
Yeah. You could say this is a great potential long-term store of value. And as I said, it's like digital gold. And I believe...
But you still can't buy a slice of pizza with it. Isn't that kind of odd that we're...
But you can't buy a price of pizza with palladium or gold. It is a ledger, but it's an international ledger. It's cross-border. It's bigger than any government.
I agree with you. It would have blown up, I believe, in FTX, and it didn't after FTX.
For more on this and just the general economic landscape, Jim Perry, founder, CIO of Perry International Capital Partners, joins us. Jim, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning.
What's your reaction to what Fink had to say about Bitcoin amid this pretty prodigious spike we've seen over the last year and even more so recently?
I think that Larry Fink realizes that the Bitcoin ETF is a really great way for BlackRock to make a lot of money. So he's going to promote the idea that people should buy it through BlackRock. As far as value is concerned, I think there is some. I just don't know what it is. Bitcoin miners are going to have the cost of mining their Bitcoin go up by 50% here in the next month or so. And I guess they make money by processing this ledger, and I think there's some value to it. I don't know what it is.
Is Fink right when he says that so much of this, I mean, this is a little bit sort of the argument that this is a 21st century version of tulip mania, that so much of it is predicated on mistrust of government, and despite Larry Fink not wanting to go there, that includes here in the U.S., where there's all this talk about America losing its status as the reserve currency and the $35 trillion in debt and so forth. I mean, which are real issues, but I'm just saying that's really what's feeding the turn to Bitcoin question.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, that's really the core of the issue. It's a very libertarian sort of concept, and I know a lot of people who are really into it. And it's half the people you talk to think it's great, and half the people you talk to think it's ridiculous. But I think the psychology behind going into Bitcoin is people really don't trust the government anywhere, Europe, China, anywhere, And the fact is that these financial systems, this is fiat currency central here, right? We've got $34 trillion worth of debt, and there's no way that we're ever going to pay it back. So people recognize that, at some point, you're going to either have to devalue your currency or write off your debt. There's really no other option. Well, there's three. You can devalue your currency, write off your debt, or you can try to inflate your way out of a slow growth economy, which is what is the path that governments usually take. Inflate your way out.
Well, speaking of inflating, we've got inflation numbers coming out this week. What's the expectation?
It's a very important week, Dan, for the markets. We do get the consumer price index, which is retail inflation, and then we get the wholesale prices, and then we get, I think, what's becoming a more interesting and focused data point is this University of Michigan inflation expectations in 1 year. Right? Now, it is a survey, so you've got to take it as a grain of salt. But the fact is that, even though Powell doesn't talk about it much, and the Fed doesn't talk about it much, and the government doesn't talk about it as much, and Wall Street doesn't talk about it much, but, inflation expectations are rising. And this University of Michigan 1 year inflation number is probably going to come in at plus 4% this week. And that would be right in line with what the market expectations for 1-year inflation are. There's a metric called the break-even inflation in the Treasury inflation-protected securities market, and market investors have pushed that inflation expectation to 4% last week. So if we get a 4% number from the surveys, these are the highest inflation numbers we've seen for a year. And I think if inflation looks like it's coming up, and I've been talking about that, as you know, for 2 years, Perry Capital has had a stagflation forecast for a long time, which is low growth, sort of 2%, 2.5%. Inflation, which is rising faster than growth, which is 4%. And wage inflation rising faster than that, which is pushing it, which is about 5% or 6%, depending on which statistic you look at.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, I think we got a stagnating economy, and the Bitcoin story is investors want to get money out of the market because they see a devalued currency coming. And the currency, the dollar's trading down. Dollar's down 1.5% last week and down 4% over the last sort of little bit of this rally. So I think getting part of your capital, your savings out of the bond market, out of the stock market is an appealing psychological comfort level for investors.
So has the market recanted its expectation that you'll see 1 or 2 rate cuts this year? Is it and now pricing in no rate cuts based on what Powell said last week and the numbers like you're talking about potentially this week?
Right. Well, Powell was pretty dovish last week, right? I mean, he said that he fully expects to have the economy or the inflation numbers come down enough where the Fed's going to be able to ease. So this whole rally, the last sort of 16 weeks since the October lows, has been investors front-running the next rate cut. And frankly, I understand it and I get it, but it seems to me that there's a lot of stimulus in the economy already, right? And I think that maybe rates don't move very far at all. Maybe they just sit here for the next year. And if that's the case, the stock market's too expensive. So I'm a little bit worried that valuations have gotten ahead of themselves, mainly because the government is spending so much money that they would have spent in a year, and they're bringing it to the future, right? So they're moving future activity up to the front of the election so that we can see a positive GDP number going into the Democratic convention here in Chicago in August.
But if you get the 4% inflation number that you anticipate this week, does that change Powell's calculus? I mean, in terms of the possibility of a rate cut this year?
I think the rate cut story is a tricky one because if you look at the Fed funds futures market, which I know is slightly nerdy, but there's 5 rate cuts priced into the Fed funds futures market into December. The first one coming in June. I personally have been pushing back on rate cuts for this whole cycle. I think that the odds of a rate cut this summer, the market would love to have it. That's why they keep doing it. But if inflation keeps going up, I think the Fed can sit here at 5.5% for the next through the election. Anyway,
And NVIDIA is not going to be able to sustain this run.
NVIDIA is a very, very expensive stock. They've got a nice little moat around them right now, but it's not a very deep one. And the fact is that, they're still making hardware, right? Semiconductors are commodities, and they go through cycles. They go up and down. And NVIDIA hit it just right. That good for them. They found the right product at the right time. They're selling these GPU units for $30,000 a piece. And the big cap tech stocks are buying them because they're building out these data centers because we need so much computing power and so much energy to manage this new trend in AI,
So we had the Communist People's Gathering in Beijing last week with President Xi presiding over, applause from 3,000 apparatchiks. What comes out of what, if anything, can you read coming out of the big party powwow in Beijing in terms of what China will be doing this year, and its impact on the United States, and this stagflationary environment that you're talking about, with China having a similar problem in terms of the number of jobs it needs to create, through central planning to sort of sustain political stability.
Right. I was talking to a few strategists last week about this, and I've talked about it for the last sort of quarter or two, or even this whole cycle. China is going through a asset write-off circumstance, much like Japan did in the late 80s and early 90s. And they're going to have to write off trillions of dollars worth of real estate values. And, the problem with China is that they spent so much money that they didn't have on building out all their airports and ports and roads and buildings that you look at the Chinese miracle over the last 3 decades or so, and you can see it's all about government spending. So now they're so worried about AI and advanced computing and social media that their best option is to shut this stuff down because they don't want to lose power as a communist party. That's the way they're going forward with this. If the Chinese Communist Party thinks by shutting down information allows them to stay in power, and that's the best option that they have, they're in trouble. I wouldn't put a dime in China. I don't trust those guys any further than I could throw them.
Jim Perry, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners. Jim, thank you as always.
Thank you, Dan. Have a good week.
Thanks. He joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
All right, it's the time of year to enjoy life, so stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I am talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. In fact, QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives with their advanced treatments that harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk and run, climb stairs, play golf, play pickleball, move again, all pain-free. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. So take action now and live your best life this spring and summer. And it's a great use of your tax refund check, by the way. So call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, If you were told timeshares are a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-839-8484. That's 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Guys, if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, notice lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain or loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Trust my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked and have the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. It's concierge medicine for men. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment plans for each patient. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment, and they have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ships directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T-level tested. So make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
2024 is an election year, and that could mean huge gains. Consider the Dow. Over the last 123 years, over 65% of the years were winners. Traders who want to capture the biggest gains need to perfect their timing of entries and exits. Vantage Point's dual-patented artificial intelligence processes billions of data points instantly, giving you the edge to make informed decisions. We can help you predict major market trends in advance. Text the word money to 813-813 to learn the power of the AI pattern we can only describe as electionomics. Join our free class today and put electionomics to work for you. Text the word money to 813-813 right now. Text money to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers, by, or on behalf of VantagePoint. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text money to 813-813.
In search of the perfect cut for your lawn? Join the pursuit by choosing from a full line of Steel mowers. From gas and battery options to zero turns and push mowers, Steel offers a wide range of mowing solutions for homeowners and professionals. Right now, get 0% financing on your purchase with a Steel zero-turn mower. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com/mowers. Available at select dealers. Financing available on qualifying purchases and subject to credit approval. See dealer for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Dan, I just want you to know a great man died, and I want to publicly say goodbye to Joe Smeck. He worked at NBC for 37 years, but he was also a farmer, which is more important, and also, more important than that, a great family man. And he's going to be laid to rest this morning in Lena, Illinois. And what a guy. I mean, he would treat a president and a homeless man the same. He treated everybody with respect, and he had such a positive attitude, and he's going to be missed. He served in Vietnam and was lucky enough to come back and survive that. And he survived 37 years at NBC.
What did he do at NBC?
He was
farming?
I'm sorry. He was a photographer, and he also did sound for NBC Network. And he was in Salt Lake City with us for the Olympics, and he was in charge of curling. And he was so proud to show me. He's like, I put a microphone on top of the stone so you can hear the the sound when people are curling. He was so proud of his job. And
sport of the future.
Yeah, and at his wake yesterday, they had his cowboy boots out, and his coffin was draped in a flag, and he was just a really decent man, and there's not a lot of decent family men left in this world. So God bless you, Joe Smeck, and you will never be forgotten. All right, thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to George Hoffman, who's in for Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Chicago teen's death ruled a homicide by asphyxiation. A second migrant child has been diagnosed with the measles. A driver involved in an accident killed by a passing car along I-90. Victim ID'd after being shot at a Chicago warehouse. The Blackhawks erupt in the second period for a big win. Fighting Illini take down Iowa, and the Bears sign Kevin Byard. WIND Chicago News Time, 9.
Will Israel cross a U.S. red line? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Israel's prime minister says they can't stop the war now.
The president and I have agreed that we have to destroy Hamas. We can't leave a quarter of the Hamas terror army in place.
But in order to do that, Benjamin Netanyahu tells Fox they must go on the offensive in Rafah.
Hamas will reconstitute itself with these 4 battalions in Rafah, reconquer the Gaza Strip, and do the October 7th massacre over and over and over again.
Now, President Biden says the Rafah offensive would cross a line with more than 1 million Palestinian civilians sheltering there as the Muslim holy month of Ramadan begins. U.S. military aid to Israel remains stalled in Congress, and so does even more money and ammo and weapons for Ukraine.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban tells reporters in his country that former U.S. President Donald Trump would end U.S. support of Ukraine's fight against Russia should he be reelected. Orban was just in the U.S. and met the former president at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. He says if the U.S. stops its support of Ukraine's military, the war would end, and that peace talks after the fighting stops could bring stability to Europe.
Fox's Eben Brown. There's growing worry that Haiti's government could collapse, prompting Secretary of State Antony Blinken to go to a meeting of Caribbean leaders.
Gang violence has been battering Haiti with attacks on several police stations in the capital of Port-au-Prince and gang members freeing prisoners from jails. And the neighborhood around the U.S. Embassy in the capital is mostly controlled by gangs. So the U.S. military brought in aircraft to airlift some embassy personnel out.
Fox's Jill